sauce in a hot minute. I literally been eating honey mustard with a lot of my chicken
Mm.
lately, and I'm like, I
I
need
like
to.
cooked barbecue sauce. I don't like just dipping
Are you talking
chicken
about
in
like
it.
homemade?
No, like after it's cooked on the chicken. I don't like it just dipped. I don't like
Oh,
dipping like raw, what I call raw barbecue sauce.
raw. You hitting it raw? Just damn.
Yeah, I like it when it's on the grill, it gets cooked, it gets blackened, like it's on the food as it's cooked on the grill. I don't like dipping into barbecue sauce. I don't know why.
I mean, I can eat personally. I can eat it either way. It's not a huge detriment. I understand the appeal. There is a difference in taste.
Yeah. Anyway, what's up? I don't know if anybody's here yet. We're live.
It's been like what 2 weeks almost.
Yeah. Um,
They don't even forgot what we look like.
let's just get right into it. I don't have all the info, but apparently Star Wars Outlaws is getting shat on for
Oh yeah.
Oh,
there's
time to Google.
there's content locked behind the special edition $120 version. There's content tied to a season pass. It's a single player game, like big open world game. I don't know the extent. Of course, people are making probably a bigger deal out of it than it is, but it's kind of the
There was a checklist people made like
Don't
90
worry, I'm gonna
bucks,
pull it up.
120 bucks. Like,
I'm gonna pull it up for y'all
and you can
while y'all
share
talk
it.
about
considering it's a single
It's
player game, it was kind of bad.
it's the amiibo argument though. It's like, how do you make amiibos worth buying? Well, you put some kind of content that makes it worth buying, but then people feel like, well, it's a paywall for this missions in Splatoon. Well, it's a reason to buy the amiibo. Like you gotta draw a line, but for a big single player open world game, if this stuff that's getting pushed to the higher price version or the season pass, whether it's a like an uh, annual season pass, a biannual season pass, like a multiplayer game, or is it like, hey, all our DLC you can pay up front, buy the season pass, and get all the DLC? I don't know the verbiage, but it does sound a little. Ubisoft is kind of making, I think, a mistake. If they're trying to do like a season pass structure on a single player game. Hold on, I gotta stop my cat real quick.
So I'm just trying to figure out what's up with this fucking company, Ubisoft, man. This is fucking trash. Let's see. So
Anyway,
there's like 4 versions of this
yeah,
goddamn
Yeah.
game. What the fuck are we doing? Hold on. So we got the standard edition that comes with the game and the pre-order bonus. Then the gold edition, which comes with the game pre-order bonus, the 3-day early access, and the season pass. Then we have the ultimate edition that comes with the game, the pre-order, the 3-day early access, the season pass, the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, the Sabak Shark bundle, and then a digital art book, which goes from $70 to $109 to $130. So I'm guessing it's the Rogue Infiltrator bundle that's stuck only on the Ultimate Edition. What
I heard
is
some
this stuff?
Java mission was tied to the season, but again, is the season pass the Breath of the Wild season pass, where it's like, hey, we got DLC plan, just pay for it up front, you get everything, or is it like, hey, we're gonna do this season pass for this 6 month period,
Okay,
then season two will come out. I don't
so
know.
so here we go. The DLC that will release after launch, keep exploring the world. So it's Jabba's Gambit exclusive mission available at launch, and then the other one's the Cassell Runner character pack featuring additional cosmetics for Kay and Nyx. I think that one's post launch, but that one
That
seems
don't
to
sound like
only
DLC, like season pass type of.
that's what they're calling. That's what's in the season pass, at least off of Ubisoft's website. And you can only get that in the gold edition, which is the $109
Is
version.
there like missions to do during the season pass to like get? Because
The Jabba's Gambit is a mission,
I
and
bet that.
that's available at launch.
Yeah, they're
But
definitely
only
tying that to the.
but only for that version. Like if you buy the base game, you can't get it. It even
Doesn't
says
even sound
exclusive.
worth it, honestly. It doesn't even sound worth it.
I like
And then
when it comes down to it. I bet the stuff's gonna be, you know, point like quick, short, not gonna make or break the game for you. It's gonna be barely worth anything. But as soon as you tell somebody they can't have it in their regular edition, then they're crying for it. But I still don't understand what the season pass is. Like, what are you getting?
It sounds like what you said earlier. Upcoming DLC, you'll get it. That's usually what
Yeah.
it sounds like.
At least I didn't love it with Breath of the Wild when they announced it first, but they did kind of give us
Yeah.
some name titles of or what they're planning, the type of stuff you're gonna get. They did it for
That's
Xenoblade
true.
2 as well. Like they
I'm
told
still
you
impressed that with Tears of the Kingdom they did like no DLC.
Nothing.
It
Probably
doesn't
enough.
need it even, but like that was
So-
like shocking.
So I know when I looked up,
Also, there's a big controversy about the character model.
okay, that's literally what I've been seeing. I saw more of that than I did the DLC. It's literally just been this
She-
thing about
Looks pretty weird in some angles. Like
it's a face change from what it looks like. Let
Looks
me
like-
see.
And the weird thing is, some shots and like a cinematic, like side shot, is like she looks fine. What are people talking about? And then you see like a straight on. It's like, is she a child of Yoda and a human? Like what the fuck? What is wrong with her eyes and her nose and her chin? Just look weird. But I think it's really just the hairstyle and just the design they're going for. The model looks fine. So I don't know. It's not a 1-to-1.
It looks like the models change between trailers.
Yeah, I thought the first trailer, she looked slightly different. You can tell it's still the same basis.
Have you seen the model? She's
Yeah, it's of course the only
base-
pictures of the model. She's all dialed up for like glam shots, so it's hard to say. But
to be fair to it.
I think the general features you can see if you look 1-to-1. You can see that, yeah, that's her nose, yeah, that's her eyebrows, but it just doesn't come together. And you get the old, well, the scanning technology, there's so many sliders that they gotta do. I'm like, why does how come Kojima can have Norman Reedus and Leah Sadu look exactly like they look in real life? Like, why is Kojima just that good?
No, he gets Jeff Keighley money behind it. Probably.
It's like why does all the characters in the Resident Evil games look like Jill looks just like Jill. Ashley Graham looks exactly like the model, like 1-to-1.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. So it's just a weird argument. I don't know what the reason is. It incompetence? Did they intentionally try to make her look a little less appealing? I don't know. Because the thing is, people are saying, oh, she's like a female Han Solo. Han Solo is a handsome motherfucker. Like, watch women react to Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I didn't realize Harrison Ford was such a attractive man. I'd never thought of him that way. But man, these girls are fawning over him.
You weren't the target audience.
No, I thought he's all right. Look, I never thought he was like, oh my god, can't believe how handsome this guy is type of guy. But
apparently they ratioed the fuck out of the trailer.
yeah, but I think most of the downvotes were all the bullshit of the pricing, the season pass, putting content behind it. Ubisoft recently saying things about how get used to not owning your games or something along those lines.
Ubisoft, I hate it because sometimes they're fine with their titles, and then they open their mouths, and you're just like,
I mean, no one probably bought freaking Prince of Persia game, but everybody who did said it was freaking phenomenal. Like,
it's absolutely fucking amazing.
Super Metroid level of.
It's really good.
I know the problem. The problem
combat is so smooth in that game, dude. It's fucking nuts, and visually it looks insane.
I guess because it's considered a lower budget effort compared to like this.
It is what it is. It's not like
that doesn't make it bad.
It's not like Metroidvanias are like the premier genre that are gonna sell 10 million copies, but I bet it. From what I've seen, I don't know anybody other than Retro Death who I think
it's really good, man. Like I said, the combat is so fast and smooth. Like there's full-on voice acting. The story's pretty cool. Like the backgrounds look great. Honestly, and it's already down to like $30 after like a week since it came out. Like honestly, I think you'd love it. Like it's really.
To be fair, Retro, I love you, bro, but sometimes you give like the praise of a game, and then there'll be this one left field fucking thing you say, and I'm just like,
Everybody I've seen, everybody who's played the game says it's phenomenal, and I've meant to
I
buy
was
it.
I was waiting for a retroism. I was waiting for, but I don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
the hairstyle.
I'm not. I'm not
I
super
don't-
far. I'm like 10 hours into it. I'm not super deep into it. There's not too much to say. But as of now, the combat and the visuals, they're like
I
way
don't
better
really
than I
care
was
for the art
expecting.
style though. It's just got a weird. It's almost like that Metroid Dread kind of.
Yeah, yeah. That is kind of
Plasticky.
what it is. The backgrounds go very deep and it's very detailed, but I like that. Like, I think that looks great.
But yeah. So anyway, the whole Star Wars Outlaws, yeah, there's multiple facets to it. That it's just
They better make some changes to that fast because that's gonna hurt them in the long run so much.
like I think like Rule 2 is I went from huge excited to down in the tubes because of the season pass, the Jabba thing tied to this. It's probably some stupid ass mission that is not gonna matter to your play
I think
session.
people's problem is that it's releasing
It's-
day one
I think
with
it's
the game.
it's the principle of, but just like with Amiibo, they're trying to add value to the higher end. Now you can be upset that they're releasing these high priced ones and trying to add value to stuff and having a day one, but I wouldn't write it off if the game comes out and like, my God, this even the base version. There's so much to do. It's just an amazing game. Like one of Ubisoft's best open world games they've ever made. I ain't gonna care about one stupid mission tied to a season pass. Like,
I think it's become a conversation of more of what the precedents that it sets.
Yeah.
That because here's the thing: a season pass is a season pass. That's whatever. The problem is that if you buy the base game, you cannot get the season pass in the context of the mission. The mission is locked in to that gold version of it, which is the $109.99 version. People are like,
Because in the past you would have like a normal version, and then like say
no.
collector's edition, you got like a few skins or whatever, and it's like they're elaborating on the tiers. And
Yeah,
locking bigger
there's like
content
there's
behind it.
technically another tier, but I didn't count it because it's a part of that whole Ubisoft Plus subscription service thing, and it doesn't look like there's anything really different other than, hey, if you get Ubisoft Plus, you can just get the game for $18 a month, which by the way is a fucking lot of money for
Yeah.
just Ubisoft
that's
games.
a lot of money for you every month.
Yeah,
It also depends on like how
Disney
much
Plus isn't even that expensive. What the fuck?
It also depends on like how much is going to be in the base game by itself. Recently, I literally picked up Tears of the Kingdom again. I hadn't played it in a few months since I finished it, and I started playing it again. The second I'm in that world, there's shit for me to do. There's missions and stuff to find everywhere. So it doesn't need that extra content. So if now you're releasing a game and you're already locking content behind it, I'm instantly thinking, well, how much content is going to be in the base game?
Yeah,
then?
now, like I said, if the reviews come out and says, "Wow, this game is lacking stuff to do, lacking missions," then yeah, I would say that's absolute bullshit. But if it comes out and it's like, yeah, there's 100 hours of enjoyable stuff to do, or 50 hours, I ain't gonna be too mad at it at that point. So it's a question for me. It depends on what's in the game at launch, the base version, and what that extra mission is. Now, if it's some people swore the Hogwarts Legacy, it was like a Halloween-ish. It was like a haunted little store that you can.
Oh
buy
yeah,
in
I
the
haven't
game.
started that mission yet. Yeah.
It was cool, but I wouldn't say it was like, oh my god, it was locked to the PS5 version initially, or PlayStation version initially. I think you can get it now on the other platforms, or it came free. I was like, it was cool, but I wouldn't have been like, I would have been upset if I hadn't played that mission.
I mean, maybe yeah, but that is because
felt a
now
little
you
out of place.
played it. Like because I haven't started it yet, and I have it fortunately. But you say something like, "Oh, this haunted shop mission is like just exclusive," I'd be pissed as shit because that sounds really
But
cool.
it didn't really fit with the rest of the game. I actually got lost in a couple. It was kind of control-ish, like the game control, where you had like these moving rooms and stuff, and they all kind of looked the same. It just didn't. And to me, it didn't really fit with the rest of the game. I didn't hate it, but having played it, I wouldn't be like, man, that makes that the best version of the game. Like, so, but we'll see. Like with Star Wars Outlaw, I will say, like, I think people are overblowing possibly that. They're definitely overblowing the character being like the most hideous thing in the world. I don't think that's the case, but there's something off about the character. It's like uncanny valley kind of creepy in some shots, and it's like I don't know. You can
I think it's just
believe
getting to the point. I think it's just getting to the point where people are just tired of
you
like,
can
this
get
shit
you can
happening.
believe the intentions. Are they incompetence or intentional? You know, there's nothing worse than a male appreciating an attractive woman in this day and age. So you know that is a thing. That's not just made up. There's plenty of comments, hundreds of comments, people saying the exact thing that. Oh well, as long as it pleases the man's eyes, you know, like those type of comments about Stellar Blade. And it's
The
just,
male gaze.
yeah,
Ooh.
it's just so stupid. Like it's like I said, Love and Thunder trailer. I've watched multiple reactions to the trailer. Girls like gasping when they showed him his I think it was his ass naked in the trailer.
Yeah, when he's naked,
Like
yeah,
just
yeah.
gasping, like a good gasp, not like disgusted gasp. You know, it's like it's just people like appreciating.
Yeah, because
attractive things.
girls definitely never get hold of a link or anything, you know.
That's a
or
spoiler. You can't talk about that.
or country music artists never have shows filled with women throwing bras on the stage, and probably rap artists too. I seen one at a rock show. Kid Rock had that happen.
No, we see twerk offs at rap shows. It's different.
But watch.
It's for the culture.
I
It's
forget
for the
who
culture.
it was. The amount of bras on stage. At it was I forget. It was a country artist, but I can't think who. It might have been Luke Bryan or something. One of the bigger ones. And it's just like it's ridiculous, you know. But you know, this is people go crazy over super attractive people and celebrities. It's just the way it is.
No fucking way. That's crazy.
You know, you have
Spoiler
attractive
alert.
women who are stalkers of like celebrities. You have like creepy dudes who are stalkers of women. You have regular looking guys that are stalkers. You have, you know,
You got girls stalking guys too.
yeah, it's just people are weird. There's always weird people, and for whatever reason, we like looking at pretty things. It's just always been the case. Even your pets. Like I pick out the best looking cats. I picked out the two cutest cats I saw at the place, and I took mine to the vet today, and the girl's like, "Oh my god, she's so cute." She's like holding her like she want to let her go. I'm like, all right, I'm going now. You know, give me my cat back. I know she's cute. That's why I picked her. But yeah, there's definitely I think it's on both sides. It's just gotten ridiculous. We talked a little bit about this. The IGN France Retro wasn't here, and they tried to backtrack a little bit. He said that the character Eve looked like a what did he say? Like a sexual doll made by a person who's never seen a woman. Their correction was made by a person who you would think has never seen a woman, and they thought that was gonna like abolish.
I'm so at that point I would have just took the L from the original statement. That wasn't how is that better?
It's not better.
Instead of saying that you can you sound like someone who's never seen a woman before. No, it seems like you could have been a person who's never seen a woman before. You're like, did you just change the insult? Like what
then
the
they
fuck?
blamed it on Americans who read or did a Google Translate and didn't understand, and then
we should have had retro translated for us.
yeah, then the editor in chief somebody commented of note. I don't know who the person is. I don't remember their name now. It might have been Mark Cern or something. I forget the person's name.
I wasn't. Oh, okay. I was thinking that was the guy.
Not
from
the Sony
person.
guy.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
exactly what I thought when you said it.
Called them out, and then the editor in chief of IGN France had like 15 tweets about how these ridiculous beauty standards set by men cause women to be abused, beaten, and take their own lives because they can't live up to these beauty standards set by men. And it's
I love that that's the statement when the male suicide rate is insanely higher than the female suicide
and then
rate.
The tweets were all deleted, so there's a few screenshots of them, but no one 100% could say it was the IGN France chief editorial, whatever, the head editorial guy. And it's like, how ridiculous to even like somebody actually typed that out and said that as if that's like has any merit. It's ridiculous, and it's a guy. Like to me, it's even more like annoying that a guy would type something like that out. Like it's so absurd that it's like almost not even worth discussing. It's like so ridiculous. But whether or not that was actually the editor-in-chief or not, comments were deleted, and then IGN, the main IGN, American IGN, had to put out an apology saying that those initial comments should have never made it, and they're a separate branch, but they apologize because the dude's married to like a gorgeous woman who's a designer for Shift Up. So like somebody pointed out, he made a video, I never heard of him. He pointed out like the 5 rules of journalism, and it was like have a source. If you make a claim, have 2 sources to back up your claim. Do research. Never trust somebody else without doing your own research. All this stuff, and it's like he broke every rule. And it's like I took 2 minutes to search the dude's name, the director, and see that he was married and see who he's married to. And she's like a lead designer, so she probably had a hand in creating Eve's design. They didn't specifically say she like came up with the design, but that she's a designer. She helped with some of the characters and stuff. And it's just absurd. And I don't understand. It's only certain games though. Like I was gonna send you a link that there's a character.
You know why it happens with certain games, and then you know what kind of games it happens to the most. It doesn't happen to American games. It always happens to Japanese or foreign games.
Yeah.
Because of unrealistic beauty standards. Because apparently, and to me, this kind of, and I won't go too far into this, but to me, this just reminds me of the whole. Well, games is a serious art form, and we're not getting respected because of these basement dwellers. And I'm like, you fucker, what? like, why are we doing this? We're doing this. Well, I'm not respected in the industry because you guys all I care about is your anime waifus and shit. Bitch, we put money into this industry the same amount as you. You better leave me the fuck alone.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it seems like there's definitely fan service in some anime. I don't know if it's all anime or a lot.
It's not all anime.
A good percentage of anime.
Put it this way, it's known in anime. That's the problem.
Do you think anime would be as popular without it? It's hard to prove, but do you?
No, Terrell. Tell me how much the viewer base of One Piece went up in the last few seasons compared to the beginning.
No, okay. First off, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not saying. I would say it's hard to say, but I'd be lying in saying that the culture doesn't respect some finely drawn women.
Does it attract those people because it has it, or
I mean, there's a whole
is it
genre
popular
for those
because
below.
it has it?
No, it's not popular because it has it, but it doesn't hurt it. It hurts it when talking to Americans about it because Americans are like, well, women don't have those proportions. And I'm like, it's drawn with pencil, you fuck.
Have you ever seen a cartoon? Almost nobody has those proportions. So
I'm like, did y'all remember the cartoons?
Terrell, in our chat, just I want you to share that video because it's going to lead to.
This isn't who I think it is? Is it because is it the person you've showed me videos
I might have
of
shared before, but just share it full screen.
All right, hold on. Let me get
Time to get blocked
because it's crazy.
Going blocked. Hold on, let me.
I ask you guys in the chat why no one knows this character. I wonder if anybody even knows the game based on. I'm sure somebody in the chat will.
I'll tell you this: I don't recognize the game.
I didn't know the game. I had to frickin' do a shit ton of searching to figure it out.
Share screen.
Because I seen the video clip of her dancing. It's probably some of the best. I mean, not even as like trying to be funny. Some of the best physics. Like if you want to talk about jiggle physics, some of the best.
Oh, I'll pause it. All right.
So anybody know what game this? Oh, it says it in the top. Hit play. Hit play.
I'm a bet.
There. Maybe it's a little it's a little more jiggly than I remembered. So this is an emote in what's the type of game? Role playing. It's like I don't know if
MMORPG?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a group, but this is one of the emotes. Anybody know this game or this character? I know it's coming out. Initially, it has a beta form that's out right now. It's a playable game on PC.
I'd be surprised if Donnie didn't know this.
Her name's
I feel like
Fiona.
Donnie.
Why isn't there controversy about this? Is another Korean developed game.
Because the game isn't big enough. It's not big enough for like like Stellar Blade being like a Sony exclusive from what I understand.
You just nailed it.
Yeah.
The point I wanted to make. This is a multi-plat PC, Xbox, PlayStation.
No.
We play that. Wouldn't you say this character is has just as this pretty similar features as Eve from Stellar Blade, if not, I mean, maybe a little less thickness?
I mean, yeah, it's similar. Absolutely.
But, I mean, this is drawing the male gaze. Why is this character not getting a shit ton of controversy? Honestly, I think you nailed it. I think it's because it's a multi-plat. I don't care if it's PS5 or Series X. If Stellar Blade being a exclusive, this is just my
think because Stellar Blade's also gotten a lot more promotion.
Stellar Blade basically got big because they marketed it almost as like a Bayonetta kill or whatever, that gets people's attention.
From the first trailer, it was initially open as a multi-plat. And I don't have any... I'm not going to go back and look for tweets and stuff.
You want to replay it again? Or
no, that was good. I'm not going to go back and look at try to find tweets. I remember specific people being positive on the game. And then Sony locked it up like a year later or whatever. They partnered up with the company, helped fund it. They've publishing it and helped with some development. And then the next time they showed it is when it got the name reveal, and it was revealed it was PlayStation 5 exclusive. Even then, there wasn't as big of the outcry was a little bit. I remember Digital Foundry had their couple guys were making comments about how inappropriate it was and stuff, but it wasn't until the last time they showed it that it really hit like a mass fever pitch. And it's just, I mean, Asmongold's made probably, I didn't know who the dude was 2 months ago. I only know him because of Stellar Blade. I've heard the name a few times, but I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah, he's a popular streamer. I mainly knew him for popular. I've known him for like his Dark Souls stuff more than anything else.
But he's covered Stellar Blade like 10 videos. The Critical Drinker, who's huge for movies, he's covered the game a few times. He did a playthrough the demo. Some other big YouTubers I never heard of playing it. And it had 690,000 concurrent peak players of the demo in a day at peak. I don't know what the average is since the demo was released. So, I mean, it's definitely, I think it's going to be another, not going to be like big like Hogwarts, but I think the Barbara what's the hell's her last name?
Streisand.
The Streisand effect, where a couple small group of people tried to make a big deal about it, tried to be offended by it, and the bigger group was like, well, we're going to defend this against this ridiculousness, and then the game just kind of blew up. So I bet I wouldn't be surprised now if it sold 1 million in the first couple month or so. At first, I was thinking maybe 1.5 million tops in its lifetime, but now I'm thinking it might be higher. But
I think also because remember, Sony also was kind of known, especially not even that too long ago, like a few years ago.
Well, a lot of people thought they were going to censor the shit out of it.
That's because that's what their MO has been like a lot recently. Ever since they moved their offices, their main branch to California, it was like, oh, they're not even going. This game's gonna get nerfed like a motherfucker. So when they didn't, and then all this crazy outrage happened, it's a part of that same industry. We can't talk about how cool and respected games are when you got these jiggling titties and ass cheeks in the background. We want to be respected, guys, because this isn't just nerd shit. This is some cool stuff. That's why they champion games like The Last of Us, because of how deep and complex it is. But look at those anime-looking cheeks. We can't have that, or else they won't respect us.
Yeah, because initially it was just some Sony or people thinking, man, Sony's going to censor this game. They're going to wreck this game. That was the initial thing when I first saw that Sony was making it exclusive. And then the last trailer when it got, I think, the release date. You know, the first comments I saw about it were Xbox guys saying, oh, well, all you guys care about is the ass. I don't see anybody talking about the game. Like, no one was talking about the ass until I see a couple Xbox guys talk about the ass. Like, anybody who's a fan of Bayonetta or Nier Automata should have at least had some interest peeked into it, like when they first seen it. And it's like, if it wasn't an exclusive, I don't care. Like I said, if it was Xbox exclusive or PlayStation exclusive, I think I don't think it would have even reached like any like there would have been people complaining about it. I don't think it would have reached Asmongold. I don't think people would have been talking about it. And because one of the biggest like initial things was I forget his name, Kevin something. He's like a street reporter, but he's a diehard Xbox guy, and he was the one that said that she looked like she was a child. They put a child's face on a woman's body, and that was gross, and he was disgusted by it and stuff. And that was literally the first thing I seen about the game. Besides, I saw the trailer and thought it looked good.
Because the reality is this: certain kind of games are only okay with certain kind of gamers, and obviously everyone has their taste. That's not really the problem. Xbox guys have probably been the most against anime kind of games. Sony and Nintendo fans are kind of like, that's my shit. We'll ride for it. We've had it for years. Like PlayStation's had it, Nintendo's had it. Xbox guys didn't really have anime kind of games. The most they had was like the 360, and they didn't buy any of those fucking games. So because of it, now it's like a trickle down effect. Now we're in like 2024, and those same guys are like, why are y'all playing games with these men and women that look like children? Why y'all
She
so
doesn't even
weirdos
look like
for
a
that?
child. That's so stupid. There's a younger character. She doesn't even look like a child. Like she
It's
looks
the
young.
art style.
It's stupid. I don't like that. Defying Fates, Invictus. Defying Fates was that game. I don't think I ever said that with Fiona. That's like jiggle physics to the max. Super attractive, and you hear nothing. Yeah, it wasn't on a recent state of play or something, but I've seen clips of people playing it. I mean, it doesn't look like the greatest game, but it's like a hack and slash kind of. I guess it's a remake of like an old top-down style game, but it's just weird to me. I'm like, how is this not making people mad? And then I kind of just came to this conclusion. Well, the first thing that started it was this like diehard Xbox fanboy, like Muhammad level, calling out the character for looking like a child from Stellar Blade, and that's what everybody was talking about. That's what Asmongold was talking about. No one would make those videos if this guy didn't say that ridiculous statement and back it up. He went to the streets of New York and he asked all these green and blue haired people what they thought of Eve's design. And guess what? Yeah, looks like somebody had never seen a woman before.
Yeah, see,
Because it's ridiculous.
and it's not. And I feel bad, but like that's the reality. Like Xbox players don't care for anime titles, and that kind of design style. PlayStation and Nintendo fans are like, man, we've been dealing with that shit since like fucking
Trust
Chrono
me,
Trigger
if
and Final
that
Fantasy.
was an Xbox Series exclusive, Muhammad would be talking Game of the Year for Stellar Blade. I guarantee
listen, certain game, it's the same issue Nintendo fans go with when anytime some game sees like, what's that color doing in my video game? Where's the blood, guts, and gore? It's literally the same premise, but it's worse because Japan has the different art style that pushes it into, as Xbox guy would say, pedo territory, and it's like
they're only. I mean, literally, this
it's
guy.
a video game.
If you go
damn
to
it.
that, the one person who went to that, I think it might have been Asmongold. He did a deep dive on that guy's account, and was one of the biggest Xbox dick riders just by his comments and stuff. Just like championing everything they did. All these tweets, it was ridiculous. He goes, "This guy's just an Xbox fanboy. He doesn't believe that character looks like a child. No way, no shape, no form. He's just mad that it's not on his system, and he's trying to get people talking about that. So that looks like PlayStation guys and these incels just want an attractive character or just attractive woman in their game. Like it just completely spin the narrative, and it's stupid because the game demo's out. It's a solid game. Digital Foundry broke down the visuals. They said this is like unprecedented for Unreal Engine 4. The level of quality visuals with the frame rate like puts a lot of big Western studios to shame for how good the game looks and performs, with the character models being super detailed, animations, all this. All the aspects of the technical side are really well done. And it's like, what? There's really the only thing to criticize is calling out PlayStation guys who are excited to play it, saying that they only want to play it because of the chick's ass. Like that's really all that's left to say. If you,
But, I mean, to be fair, I think the same vitriol would have been pointed towards Bayonetta if it wasn't for the fact that Xbox and PlayStation guys got that game
well,
before
Bayonetta
Nintendo
2
got.
saw a little of that. There was a European review that was just offended and couldn't just review the game. And that, honestly, Bayonetta 2 had like zoomed in crotch shots between her legs.
Oh no,
like,
yeah, Bayonetta 2 was gratuitous as fuck, but it was also like, so the woman who's out here single-handedly destroying angels and demons is this is the misandry you wanna point to, right? Like, look, this fucking woman by herself just fucking up everything. This fucking male gaze, misogynistic.
You know what they'd say now, though? If Bayonetta came out today, you'd say it was woke because this woman's too strong. They made her stronger than any man. It's like people don't care about that. Like, if something's good, no one makes that argument if it's good. That type of argument only comes up when something sucks. If the Rings of Power would have been amazing, no one would have. People would have complained about some of the choices, some of the forced diversity or whatever inclusion. But if it was a great show, that would have died instantly. It sucked. Yeah. Even Robert. The problem is Robert couldn't make it 2 episodes and he bailed. Maybe it was 3. It's just a bad, boring show. Like, it's just terrible. So I just think, you know, I think we hit a lot of topics there, but Retro, I know you're more of a male feminist type, you know, you lean towards that side. How do you feel about an attractive, sexy female character in a video game?
I mean, I would think I'm not the opposite of a feminist, but it's like, I don't care what a character looks like in a game. But it's obvious why they make characters attractive. You know, it sells. That's why they do it. But personally, you know, like I said, if the gameplay is nice, I'll buy it. Like, I literally couldn't care less what a character looks like. Like, all this, man, the past few years has been getting a lot worse. You got all this, like, micro zoom in on peach fuzz on the cheeks and shit. Like, come on. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't know. I think, like what you said earlier, just comes where Xbox and PlayStation is, sorry, but like, it's a fucking wasteland right now when it comes to video games. PlayStation even said nothing is going to come out and stuff. That's why everybody's now focusing on this game, because that's the only thing that's there. Xbox isn't getting anything, so they're just salty that PlayStation has a game.
Well,
PlayStation is nothing.
Xbox had or PlayStation had a nice 4 months.
Deconstruct what it is, the stuff that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I bet if there was a plethora of Xbox games coming out and stuff, I really think most of this. But like I said,
hey, listen,
I'm not just blaming the one dude, but that's what all the people who are made videos like countering, like, this is ridiculous. Like, this statement's ridiculous. They all cited that one dude for 2 straight weeks. I'm like, I saw a video, I was like, it's been 2 weeks. Let me see if there's new information. Yeah, so Kevin Kenson, or whatever his name is, said, I'm like, that was 2 weeks ago. We're still reporting on the same fucking bullshit. Like, get over it, people.
For example, you mentioned Bayonetta 2 earlier. Actually, pretty funny. I hate the way Bayonetta looks in 2. I'm sorry, but that short guy hair.
I knew it. I knew he was going. He's gonna retroism the fuck out of this dog.
I think she looks ugly, and Bayonetta. You could have just stopped me from buying the game. You know,
I didn't love her. I didn't like the costume.
It's a perfect gameplay and stuff, you know. Just how in Bayonetta, just like how in Bayonetta 3, I think it's the best she's ever looked. But I haven't picked it up yet, you know. Like the way that she's holding one or not in another, it doesn't influence whatsoever.
You know what this feels like? This feels like that fucking Xenoblade 2 argument we had where Retro wanted to be on my side. And he was like, I didn't finish the game yet. And I'm just like, bro, why do you do this? Like
yeah, I mean, I don't love Bayonetta 2's like the outfit she's wearing. That luckily you could switch.
But you know what?
I didn't hate
Juice, you know what bothers me though? How you gonna say you bought Bayonetta? You own Bayonetta 2, right, Retro?
Yeah.
See, but you don't own Bayonetta 3, and you think she looks better in that game.
Yeah, but that's my point. That's my point. It doesn't matter what a character looks like. I picked up 2 instantly because that gameplay was perfect. I picked it up. The only reason I haven't picked up 3 yet is just money reasons. Got a budget shit, you know. But I think she looks way better. And if that male gay shit is correct, I
Retro.
would have bought it at lunch already. It doesn't matter to me.
Retro, I want you to understand something. I hate you, but like, never change.
Well,
like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing: just because you think a character is attractive doesn't mean necessarily you're gonna buy the game. But I think just to see the other side, people are saying, well, why do you care so much that the character's attractive? And it's like, I don't like. I played as Abby for 10, 11 hours. She's probably one of the ugliest video game characters ever put in a game, and I don't care.
Hit that girl
but
with your shoe.
At the same time, you have to question why they're doing certain things. Like, it's the why. It's not that like the Fable character. It's not like, oh my god, she's so ugly, I can't play the game. If it's a great game, as long as she's not like some annoying like character you just despise, like in Forspoken, like everybody who played or previewed the games, like, I hate this character.
Those voice clips, man.
I hate the character.
Can't.
I hate it's
that
not
threw me off the game.
And of course, oh, you just don't like her because she's blah blah blah. Well, no, because she's really obnoxious.
They thought everyone didn't like her because she was black, not because she was annoying.
She was super obnoxious. I don't mind the fish out of the water idea, but apparently they just ran it into the ground, like her like cockiness and stuff. And it's like, you can do cockiness good, where it's like funny and shit, or you can do it where it's like annoying as hell.
Bayonetta's kind of cocky, but it's
that's a good
there.
kind of cocky. Bad cocky is when you're like acting like you're the shit and you haven't done anything, type of thing. Bayonetta can be cocky because she's like undefeatable. She's so good, that's why she can be cocky. But people didn't despise Forspoken because the character was of certain gender or race. They didn't like the character, and then the game was like dull as hell. Like, the world was dull. Yeah, there were some cool effects and stuff once you got all
the best thing about it was the movement.
Yeah,
People
the movement and the like particle effects and stuff.
But you couldn't get that gameplay right for nothing.
Yeah, and Anita Sarkeesian, which is,
we don't talk
about.
Anita
What's funny
ever.
about her is she talks about sexualizing characters and making them look attractive, and then you see like she had like a show with her and two other women.
Batman one,
and they had like a caricature of each one. And they made her look super cute and hot in the character, the one that she okayed and put like proudly displayed. I'm like, oh, why does that caricature of you look so much cuter than you do in real life? Like, you'd think like you'd want it to look like realistic. Like,
I thought you were going to talk about. I think that was her also. Where she's made like half a career like yelling about people objectifying women.
Oh, she has.
And then there's a clip where she's playing Batman. She's like, check out that tight ass and stuff like.
Yeah, I don't know if she ever did that.
Oh yeah. Anita Sarkeesian is like the one woman that no one likes in gaming. No,
and she was just
no one likes.
The last someone, I guess we heard of her, she was like begging a Cyberpunk developer to hire her because she was like, obviously you guys need help for what's to come about your design, whatever. Like, they had full nude. You could pick your male character's penis size and like full nude character creation screen, full frontal, full anatomy. Obviously they didn't give a shit, and she's looking for work, but
of course she is. No one's hiring that crazy.
She was the one that said like the Mario universe only has like 2 women in it, or 2 female characters, and it's like, yeah, if you only know Peach and Daisy and you don't fucking pay attention to Rosalina, you got
Visor.
Toadette.
You're right. It's been a decade and the bitch has not gotten any better. That's what kills me.
And you know what's funny? I kind of think she's kind of attractive too, Anita. Like, in a hate F kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Oh, a hate fucker?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're not gonna listen. Listen, Juice.
I like the dark hair. I like she's got like
Juice. I don't care.
Greek.
As long as you don't like what comes out of her mouth, that's all I'm saying.
But anyway,
she can't speak ever.
It's all stupid because, like I said, if a game's good, if a movie or show's good, then this shit blows over so quickly. No matter what side of the argument you're on, it's gone. It's like a non-factor. How quickly after Hogwarts Legacy came out did all the boycott? Yeah, they tried to cancel some big streamers and stuff, But
We need to stop the female gaze. Ugh.
yeah, how quickly did that shit blow over? Now is the number one selling game in the U.S. and number 3 in the world for the year of 2023. Like that, if the game sucked, that stuff would have kept going and going and going, and people would have been mad. But people really like the game, and that's what really it boils down to. All the stuff before a game comes out should kind of disappears once a game comes out, if it's
So
good.
Stellar Blade comes out next week, right?
2 weeks, I think.
Is it the very end of April?
No, it's like a week and a half. Yeah, it's like the 26th or something.
So yeah, we got a little bit over a week.
So
I'm
I'm looking forward to it. I pre-ordered it. I thought the demo was really good. There's a boss battle where you just fight a boss and you have like some more advanced. You're further in the game, so you have your more advanced moves, your double jump, and a couple dodge abilities. And I got my ass kicked like 5-6 times. I think I finally beat the boss, and it was rewarding as hell. I'm like, yeah, I hope there's more. I hope there's variety. I hope there's a lot of bosses like this. I know they said it's like 20 to 30 hour game with 50 hours to 100% type. So it's it's not the longest game, but it's not like super short. It's not like Hellblade 2 where they're talking like 7 to 9 hours.
Doesn't that come out in May, right? You
And
excited about that?
The previews sound promising, but also just like with what was that Requiem, Plague Tale?
Yeah.
I liked the first Plague Tale, and I thought it had a good foundation to expand upon, and then the second game comes out, and they basically the crossbow that I thought was going to be a game changer. You got like 2 ammo per like section, like big section of like stealth area where you can't just. So I was like, it's basically pointless. I could just run past everybody, get to the door, and get past everybody. Anyway, the point is, I was hoping they would expand and build upon what they did a little bit more, and not just kind of retread. It just felt I was getting a little tired with the whole gameplay mechanic.
So you're afraid that Hellblade's going to do the same thing?
Light that fire there so the rats move, and get there, and then do this thing to light the fire over here so the rats move. And that's exactly everyone, like the positive previews, but they all say the same thing. Man, I hope this is just the early game stuff, because I'm doing everything I did in the first game. I go up to a thing and it's blocked. You get a red circle, and I got to go find these 3 runes in the environment. You got to line up like a tree and another object to make like a symbol, because it's all in her head. And you do that. They said the combat is a little bit more advanced, but they said if it doesn't expand, then they're a little. Basically, the synopsis was if it doesn't evolve further in the game, you're gonna really just feel like you're playing the first game again all the way through. Like
how long ago was the first game?
That was 2017. So
so it's been
7 years.
7 years. That's gonna be hard.
And,
I hope.
Myself included, I was hoping they were gonna, as much time and budget as it seemingly was put into this, and the volume they built for their studio so they could do all the motion capture. I was hoping this would be like a God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok type kind of like competing.
Way, man. I think it's going to be way smaller than people think.
Yeah, they said it's the same length as the first game, 7 to 9 hours. And I was like,
oh
damn,
no.
Waited this long, and you had all the backing of Microsoft, and you made a.
See, listen, it's why I said a while ago. People were like, man, last year Xbox was killing it. I'm like, don't you fucking, you got to give me more than one okay year before I'm like,
I don't know what else is coming out for Xbox this year, to be honest, but it sounded more and more like even if it had a physical, which it doesn't, I would be waiting for a sale, possibly when they make it multi-plat down the road. But it's digital only, so maybe I'll just.
That's a little surprising.
Maybe I'll get the cheapest Game Pass I can get for a month and play it. It might be a great game. They might, like they said, it has the potential. They said maybe it just starts off where the last game left off, and it's gonna keep expanding, and the combat and the puzzles are gonna get more involved. Because if I'm just like, oh, here's a wall, I zoom in, here's 3 runes I gotta go find, and then when I get close to them, it gives me a hint that I'm close to a particular rune, like a S, and then I line it up, and then that one's solved. I didn't mind it, but I don't want to do that. Just that exact type of thing for a next full game. Like if expand upon it, I'd be disappointed. But oh wait, but the previews were all positive. No one was like, "Oh my god, this sucks." They're just like, hey, "That's my one concern is that they don't expand upon this, and that by the end of the game, you're just still doing the same stuff."
Hey, but just to be fair, Microsoft's gonna be killing it this month anyway because Grounded comes out on Switch tomorrow, and Sea of Thieves comes out on PlayStation at the end of the month. Man, they got
yeah.
the whole
Sea of Thieves coming to PlayStation?
yeah.
Oh, I
It's
can
coming-
play it.
Xbox
comes
guys
out-
were, oh look at it's #1 on the digital pre-orders. Well, it doesn't have a physical. I'm guessing. So yeah, it's gonna be on the digital pre-orders.
Yeah,
So,
like where else can it be? That's literally
I
the
thought-
only place it can be.
it's like, yeah, people made fun of it, but when it first came out, it deserved to be made fun of. Like we're sick of this game that came out with nothing to do, and they showed it for how many freaking E3s? Like 5 years in a row. It was like, they still show
The
it.
Kraken was lacking.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
he-
everyone says it turned into a really
How
a
dare
fun game, a
you.
fun multiplayer game.
I can't believe he said Kraken.
I'm
was
gonna stick
lacking.
to my guns though. I didn't play it on Xbox. I'm not gonna play it on PlayStation. So
Oh, I'm
just-
not gonna lie. I've been wanting to play Sea of Thieves since it came out, but I just couldn't. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, oh, it's coming to PlayStation. I'll probably get into it.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired of this game. Like I wish if it trips me, I'd be curious. What are the sales for Sea of Thieves? Like how much money has this fucking game made? Because if it hasn't made any like substantial amount of money, which is what I think that's
well,
the
how
case.
can
'Cause
it
if
like
it
unless
was,
it has microtransactions?
where would be the sequel at?
If
Where's
it has
my sequel at?
microtransactions, you can. But it's been on Game Pass.
I'm pretty sure it's coming to PlayStation because it didn't make the amount of money they wanted to make.
Is that the same mission for Grounded? Since Grounded's coming to Switch, is
I
it
mean,
I
the
think
same?
Grounded was probably at nothing. That's why it's coming to Switch.
Remember when Grounded was in beta for like a year, and then they're like, "Oh, it's come. It's a 2023 game, dude. You guys been playing it for a year. You can't just count that as your 2023 game. It wasn't
Look,
the
at
official
least
version.
At
You-
least Xbox, they're playing Sea of Thieves. I can see that. They ain't fucking playing Grounded,
No.
man. They ain't gonna play that
Grounded
shit.
was never
Are they
talked
pl-
about.
Did they play Bleeding Edge? No. Grounded's probably more popular than Bleeding Edge. That game came and went.
I low key feel like Xbox games sell better on PlayStation and Nintendo than they do on Xbox.
Well, but they
Like, I
don't
would-
get to sell because it's on Game Pass, so you can't.
Well,
you
let me
can't
just
track it.
ask, is Mohammed
But
still
that's
in the
their
chat?
fault.
Mohammed, are you enjoying Grounded?
Oh, it's probably his game of the year last year, whatever year it technically released.
I'm just trying to figure out who the fuck. Who the
Like,
fuck was like, man.
I love when people say, "Oh, if Game Pass was on PlayStation, you play it." No, I wouldn't have Game Pass. I
Also,
hate
Donnie,
the concept
I-
of Game Pass. It's stupid. It's a rental
Also-
service. I don't, yeah. If I could rent individual games for a month for like $3, I'd probably do it. 3, 4, or for a week. If I could rent a game for
Hey.
$3 for a week, I'd do it.
I'm not mad at Game Pass right now because I'm playing Atlas titles on it, so I'm fine with that. I'm
I don't
not
care if
tripping
it's
too
on
much.
Nintendo. I don't care if it's on PlayStation. The reason I was thinking of selling my Series X is when they announced Hellblade 2 wasn't getting a physical. I'm like, oh, so I can't even own the game. Like, why do I have the system? That's the
Still,
one
like,
game I was
what-
hoping for.
I'm still mad. Hi-Fi Rush doesn't have a physical, and it's on PlayStation now. And I'm like, God damn.
It has better
This-
shadow detail too on PlayStation. And it's
Oh, does it?
better frame. I think it had 120 frames per second. Then they had to patch it on the Xbox.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? See,
It was
I
a
can't get a
minuscule. It was a minuscule
but my
difference in
thing
the
is,
shadow.
I can't get a physical copy though. I can't get a physical copy.
And
The
guess what?
game,
They
Game
put-
won all those awards last year. You can't get no fucking.
Put
I
it
can't
on
get a physical
PlayStation.
copy.
And then it just came out and went, and then no one cared because I'm sorry, I believe it's a great game, but it's just not. It's not going to be a mass hit type of game. It's just not. It's not that. Doesn't matter if
Makes me
Nintendo
sad.
made it. Doesn't matter who made it. Could be PlayStation exclusive. Could have been Nintendo exclusive. It wasn't going to be a huge hit. You know, it's just
It's
just the genre it is. It sucks
because
but-
it's a rhythm. It's a
And-
rhythm action game.
and they released it with no promotion. Like that's what they thought. They thought it was a $40 game that wasn't worth putting money into advertising. That's how Microsoft viewed it. That's how we talked about it. Robert got mad at us for calling it a small game. That's how they viewed it. You know, they knew it wasn't going to be a huge, like, have a huge draw, but everyone who played it said it's a great game. Like, it made game of the year lists. Like,
Yeah, it's a great game.
I have no like doubt that it's a great game. Unlike Starfield.
I wish the company that's allowing this game to come out would have some level of confidence in their fucking products, because it feels like sometimes I can't get a box version of a game that you think is a quote unquote budget title. Fucking put out a box for it, or put out like a limited run
I think the
edition
Switch
of it.
2 will get it, and maybe it'll
You
be
get
physical.
limited run or super rare. One of them will pick it up, guaranteed.
I don't like this shit, because like even if people fuck with your games, they can't buy them.
Yeah.
We can't. Actually, I don't think Grounded has a physical version. I don't think Sea of Thieves has a box. Does Sea of Thieves have
think
a
it
box?
naturally did.
Actually, Grounded is getting either limited run or super rare because I've seen it.
See, I gotta fucking. It's like cool, but like, why I gotta do all this
You
when
know
you
what?
could just get?
It's just
give
because
me
they're progressive, Terrell. They're just ahead of the curve. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with the fact that nobody buys their fucking games. They play them on Game Pass.
It just makes me mad.
I've been arguing Game Pass since early 2018, since Red Knight and I had our falling out over Game Pass. All it has is I wouldn't say bread. What's the term I'm looking for? It's created this fan base it doesn't think they need to buy games, and they've argued and they defended and they try to get people to convince people that Game Pass is the greatest thing that's ever happened, biggest, most consumer-friendly thing ever, and all it is groomed people into not buying video games and just paying a monthly fee. Like, that's all it's accomplished. Yeah, you can play some games you were maybe on the fence about, you weren't sure about buying, then you can play it. Yeah, maybe some people end up buying the game after they play it on Game Pass, but the majority of people that have Game Pass aren't going to play a game and then freaking buy it.
I mean, I still feel Game Pass was originally made because Xbox, and this is, I say it to joke always, but because Xbox barely had any fucking games. I was catching up on Robert's trip to Japan, and you went to the Nintendo store, and they had all the first-party games laid out that were released on the Switch alone. That row was massive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many exclusives came out on Xbox since Game Pass? Like, it wouldn't even be half that list of stuff that came out on the Switch.
Including
Like, that's the
Xbox
whole
One
reason.
and
Yeah, exactly.
Series.
There are like
Yeah.
3 consoles
Yeah.
since that shit.
I mean, I said
Well,
it
have
since,
those. Have those games on Switch. I can go
Yeah,
get
exactly, yeah.
I could see PlayStation going the Game Pass route because their game sales are kind of diminishing on PS5. The system's selling as well as Switch in the first 3 years, but for some reason, games just aren't like flying off the shelves. Probably because there's a PS4 version. A lot of people still have the PS4 and still buying that.
Well, I also think it's because the titles that they have been getting, a lot of them, I won't say they're not as good. That's not really fair.
There's no reason God of War Ragnarok shouldn't be like a 10 million plus seller. There's no reason the quality of the game, and maybe combine PS5, PS4. There's no reason that game. Anybody who liked the original,
I think the problem is that PlayStation has become such like a multi-plat machine, and it became really apparent. I probably would say the PS2 more than anything else. I think as time has gone on, people just don't care about first party from PlayStation as much.
well, some
Like
people they only count first party games. They won't count Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy, Helldivers, and Rise of the Ronin as exclusives that, plays PS5, all PS5 exclusive. Well, Helldivers is on PC, but Sony still published it. All PS5 exclusives in the first 4 months. You got 4 games in 3 month span, 2 of which, one was highly reviewed, and Helldivers is like one of the biggest games of the year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, one of the better reviewed games, and Rise of the Ronin seemed to kind of. It definitely wasn't. I never thought it was going to be like amazing, but it seemed to kind of underdeliver. And Stellar Blade probably going to be like a 80 Metacritic, 78 to 82 Metacritic type game. Still, those are 4 solid games. Now it sucks they've said they have nothing from established IPs for the rest of the year. It doesn't mean
That's what I was going to say. That's the problem that PlayStation has, though. They have a ton of IP. But unlike Nintendo, who keeps bringing back old IP and continuing series, PlayStation just does something and they just drop it, and then they do something else, and then they just drop it. Like Uncharted, they're dropping it. Now you got The Last of Us. They're basically dropping it. Like every time they have something new, they're just killing what's left. So
At the same
people,
time, too,
they don't know what to expect.
some
I wouldn't.
games, like I don't really. They could make a Last of Us 3, but on some genres, some types of games, you don't want to just keep making. You don't want to just keep making sequels to, because
I can agree with that. Just here's my problem: if you're gonna drop something like The Last of Us, I need a game to replace it. Like, give me a new IP, and then I'm looking over in the corner, and it's like, well, we ain't got anything else for the rest of the year, huh?
well, they said they don't have any of their major franchises in the rest of the year. They didn't say they didn't have any games. They said of their major. Don't expect a Last of Us 3 or an Uncharted 5. That's everyone takes that and misinterprets it or purposely leaves out that fact. They said they don't have any big tentpole IPs releasing this year. So you could have a brand new IP that's amazing. Like Naughty Dog could have a new game that's a new IP. You could have something like Returnal, something on the level of Returnal that's a new IP. That's all they said, because they just want to let their investors know that they didn't have any big tentpole like Spider-Man, God of War, those Uncharted type games. That's what they said. But they might not have, like the next game that comes out could be just another like smaller indie game that they decided to fund and it's exclusive type of thing. Like, it doesn't mean there's gonna be something. It just means I wouldn't say there's going to be nothing at this point, but it's not going to be anything major. Like some people were thinking Uncharted 5 could be possible announcement, and I don't think. Who knows how much time they wasted on that multiplayer game that got canceled? But I will say, I was going to say this earlier. We're talking about Sea of Thieves. It does feel like Rare is now stuck as like this games as a service company, and I think that's what Naughty Dog basically put their foot down. Said no, we don't want to become this company that has to just constantly update a games as a service game. And that's how I always read their statement when they said they canceled the multiplayer game. And that's all, basically that's what Rare is now. Like, they had the Everwild game that just disappeared, and now they're just the Sea of Thieves team.
Like, I think the reason why I say it's a little bit different than that is because Rare has been struggling for years.
That's true. Rare wasn't really doing anything.
Whereas like Naughty Dog had bangers that were single player experiences. So there was nothing to make me think that if they did this one games as a service thing, it was going to ruin their whole reputation, or it was going to put them in that hole.
I think it was just going to basically dominate their studio, and that's how I kind of read it. Where it's like, maybe it would have been a huge team once it came out. Maybe they could have had a smaller team, but they already had two teams trying to get games out.
I think people would have took that hit better if it was like, oh yeah, but we do have something for this year, and they don't. It's literally been like, Last of Us 2 came out, what, 2019? Oh, 2020?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 4 years.
Normally they'd probably have a game this year.
Yeah, so you're just like, the 4 years, the game that you told us you were working on, you're not going to do. And we don't know if a game's coming out at all. Like, if
plus they did that whole
no
crunch. They made that whole stance on crunch, which is going to add years on the development cycles.
Yeah,
anyway.
and it's like, we're already in a year where we're like, so I'm not expecting anything from you this year, essentially. And it's like, well, Sony, you have other studios. Can we get something?
Exactly. Like I said, they just said no big tentpole game, so no sequel to any of their big franchises. You could get Housemarque's next game. I doubt it, because it was 2021 when Returnal came out. So they might announce it. I don't think it would come out this year. You could have something, like I said, but it's not going to be some big IP. You could have Blue Point, who could be doing another remake that they're really good at to a old, like a PS3 or PS2 game. That could be like their big game.
The issue is that we're about to hit. We're almost halfway through the year, right? It's April, and this technically goes for Nintendo and Microsoft to the same extent. Most of the major titles we got, I think, stop after June. I think
Nintendo has nothing announced. Like, from them, they have some games in the future that aren't. I don't even know. does
We
the
have
Layton?
we have Paper Mario, and then we
Number
also
5 is Layton.
Yeah, I think
we have
that's
paper. I think we have Paper Mario in May, right?
yeah. Everything that they basically showed off is
That
coming out.
Pokemon and Layton and another one for like 2025.
There might
Luigi's
be one other
Mansion,
one.
Luigi's Mansion, all the ones that
Man,
With-
let's not fucking mention
all the
Luigi.
ones we thought something might go into the holiday, those are all out before June. So we have nothing in between June and whenever that Pokemon game comes out next
But
year.
at least with Nintendo, we know that technically there's always like a lot coming. The problem with PlayStation and PlayStation fans is they've been relying, like Naughty Dog has been fucking carrying PlayStation for like years at this
No,
point.
I would say it's Insomniac more than Naughty Dog.
No,
is
yeah,
like-
no, but like they basically have like 2 studios that are basically like carrying them and shit. But what I mean is, people are like, expecting, oh, there's gonna be no big Naughty Dog title, so it's dead. There's nothing. They're not thinking
and
past Naughty Dog really. Whereas I still feel, and like I'm sorry, but when you compare Naughty Dog to like something like Retro Studios, like Naughty Dog has put out a shit ton in the time that Retro Studios has done fucking Tropical
true.
Freeze port, you know.
That's true.
and I guess what the Metroid Prime port, if you want to count that.
Exactly. There wasn't even that, was it?
Naughty Dog did the Last of Us Part 1, so it's like in the last couple of years they're on a similar trajectory.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Retro. I mean, Retro Studios is definitely our. It's that company everyone looks forward to seeing a game from. The problem is, when's the game coming out? The issue I've said with PlayStation is that I think I've said it a lot recently. Insomniac has literally been carrying the PS5 on its back for a while. Between Ratchet and Clank, the Spider-Man games, and you're sitting there, and then if that rumored Venom game is coming out in the next couple of years, it's like,
They got
bro,
Wolverine probably next year, I would think.
and then you got Wolverine, so Insomniac ain't doing nothing this year, which I think that's fine because they've been doing everything. It feels
But
like.
again, two things. I don't know why everybody's just the complaint should be why'd they front load four games in the first 3 months? Why didn't they spread it out a little bit? Because it's like, oh, they got nothing. Well, as a PS5 owner, I got 4 exclusives already this year. And Helldivers, everybody seems to love. I just don't get caught up in those type of. I don't have
My
PlayStation
brother's
Plus.
out of that. I've
Yeah,
tried it.
one of the home theater buddies. It's what he's playing all the time. Everybody loves it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. People really seem to love that, and said it. Even Clocked It was thinking about picking it up soon, like someday, when he was totally against it because how much of the game actually is represented in this part, which gives people hope that it'll be wrapped up in the third game. Rise of Ronin kind of felt like it was a bit of a misfire, but if you like the Neo games, it's an open world like Neo game, and then Stellar Blade's coming out, and it's like, all right, maybe they could have spaced those out a little better. If they don't have anything else for the rest of the year, then they're gonna be like, why didn't they space this out? Like,
yeah, ironically enough, you can make the same argument for Nintendo. Like, why if we don't get any major announcements in like June for Nintendo, because the whole rumors of Switch 2.
Switch 2 is coming out in November, so
Have we confirmed that? Or are you just saying that shit? The point is, right? The problem is with Nintendo is that the assumption is we're getting a new console within the next like year, right?
You know, Nintendo is preparing for it. They're doing what they did
but
with
the
the
problem
Switch.
is-
I feel.
Well, yeah, I guess the problem is as of right now we don't officially know anything. That's my.
But
thing.
at least you know it's gonna come. Whereas PlayStation and Xbox, you straight up just don't know. And
I think I'm gonna give Juice the credit based off of re-explaining their original comment about what we were getting from, like, we weren't getting any like sequel games.
because they're
from
talking to
known
investors.
IP.
It was an investors meeting.
So the issue then becomes for Xbox, you got Hellblade 2 in May, and then I think the rest of their games are like either 2024 or like in the future, and you're just like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't remember if they have anything
Didn't
else.
they know? Was
what
that
Fable?
No,
I think Fable says 2024, but that's about it.
That never even got a year. Now,
Oh, I never got a.
What-
I just
thought
saw
there
that
was
they're
another.
shooting for 2025.
Wasn't
now.
there a room? I don't know if it's true. Didn't they say Xbox is working on a new fucking console already anyway?
Why? Oh, there was talk about
Well,
that. You're
there-
right. There was talk about that.
That's
but
what
it
I
didn't make
heard.
But it didn't make any fucking sense because I'm like,
And the
Guys,
PS5
these-
Pro apparently is coming out this year.
I mean, to me,
Here-
the fact that
here's
Xbox
my-
is working on a new console doesn't mean there's games coming, but I'm
well,
just saying.
actually, I was gonna say Xbox's problem was never
oh,
the quality of the
Avowed?
console.
Isn't Avowed this year?
Oh, that's right, fucking Avowed.
I don't think it looks very good, but
I forgot about. I don't know why. Part of me
see what
thought
it- let's
Avowed
see if
was
it
like a
has-
year ago.
Skyrim HDX, bro, let's go.
Oh God, no!
Let's see if it
About
has,
comes out. Yeah,
it says
that's some-
2024 is all it says.
yeah, that's the game. That's the game I remember saying 2024.
It
so the
looked-
problem
to me
is-
it looked a little. And I know this team doesn't. They put out games relatively quickly. They don't take 6 years, but it looked a little rough. Like it didn't look like a 2024 game. The footage they showed looked like a early build, maybe. Maybe it's further along now, but that's supposed to come out this year if it makes the date. I can't remember anything else. I
I'm
know
scanning right. I'm checking right now. You got
there was a lot of 2025,
a lot of these were kind of just.
or no date. Like that last Xbox.
You know how when the Switch came out, it was announced, like, or after the Switch came out, like PlayStation, Xbox very quickly released their new consoles way earlier than it should have. You think that's what they're doing now, where we know at this point, like, a new Nintendo console is close, so
To
now
be-
everybody's like panicking.
I don't even know if I agree. I don't agree with that for PlayStation. I think came out earlier than it needed to, considering the year before they had like.
Yeah, they only released because Xbox kind of had to.
Yeah.
because I think PlayStation was the only one I think that could have waited.
I think PS5. I mean, I have no
Because
way
they
to
had just
prove it.
released, what was it? They had just released what? Ghost of Tsushima
And Last of Us.
and Last of Us. I'm like, y'all.
Honestly,
no
I
one's like,
think without Xbox, if Xbox would have did 2021, Sony would have did 2021.
yeah. And Xbox needed to switch out because of how bad their console was, and then we got a better console, and then it seems like Xbox forgot the problem again. What's the problem, Xbox? Where are the games at?
I think they got a new flight simulator slated this year.
Yeah, they do.
And Stalker 2 still. I mean, that could change.
But they're all just like 2020.
It's crazy just looking at the list, and it's like, I mean, almost all of them.
Then
are
you have the Indiana
multiplex.
Jones game, but that's multiplayer.
That
isn't
ain't,
it?
I don't know. I don't think that's gonna make it out this year. But they did say December. I think that's not on this list though. So I don't think that's coming out this year.
They got some. What's this? Aura History Untold game.
It says 2024, but my guts tell me it isn't gonna come out.
My problem is that
You know who
Xbox
voices
is not.
him? Who voices Indiana Jones in that game?
Who?
Old Joel
Is it?
himself.
Oh, really?
That's what
hmm From The Last of Us. Troy
That's
Baker.
a little. Huh. That motherfucker just stays getting work. That's ridiculous.
Why did I think it was just Harrison Ford doing it?
He
I
does
don't-
it. He's. I guess the dude can do impressions and he can sound. He's one of the few.
Because it sounded like it was
He's a
him.
voice actor who can actually change his voice. He doesn't just. He's
Oh,
not just a good
okay.
actor
Yeah,
who uses
okay.
his voice. He can change his voice because he doesn't really sound like Joel. He did the Joker, which was a decent Joker, and then what else did he do for Naughty Dog or somebody? But either way, he's doing the Indiana Jones. So if that comes out this year and it's a good game, again, you want to talk about carrying. Bethesda's freaking carried the Xbox. If they didn't buy Bethesda,
Oh yeah.
they had.
No,
they
I
would've
agree with
had
that. I can
almost
agree- I can agree with
nothing
that.
in the last 3 years. Like
Yeah, I
literally.
agree with that. I'm not even gonna disagree with that statement.
That's
Fucking-
why they
But the
bought
irony
him
between
because
that is Bethesda was also basically the one the main developer supporting the Switch when it launched.
Mhm. I mean, you take
Well, are
away
we-
Bethesda, make those multiplat, or maybe Sony makes a deal and gets an exclusive. I mean, not that Redfall would be missed or wanted by the other fan bases, but you got no Starfield. Well, it's not exclusive.
Did they just forget to do anything else for that
What
game?
was-
By the way,
What was some of the other? They put out Pentiment, or they published Pentiment. One of their studios made Pentiment. Redfall. They got Indiana Jones. I'm missing one. There was another one. Avowed. No, wait, that's not them. That's Obsidian. There's one other Bethesda one I think that's been out since they bought them. But either way, I don't. Like I said, when they bought Bethesda, I could care less. I've never played a Bethesda developed game. I only played Doom and Doom Eternal that they bought id and they published it. So that's my only Bethesda connection. So I didn't care. But man,
I think actually Hi-Fi is my only Bethesda.
oh, Hi-Fi
connection.
Rush again. That was the other one. Those
Fucking-
are multiplats, or one or two of those might have been exclusive PS5. Microsoft kind of had to buy Bethesda. They would have had nothing. And I'm one of these people, like, it's going to take me a few more years before I count Bethesda as like, oh yeah, Microsoft first party. Like, I just don't, like, I don't count Destiny 2 first party all of a sudden. Like, I don't count Bungie making more Destiny content. Oh, that's first party. No. It's going to take a while for me to accept them as like first
Wasn't
party.
Destiny still on PlayStation anyway?
That's Destiny 2 is everywhere still.
Yeah, so I'm like, what? I'm not counting until you release a exclusive game to Microsoft platforms, whether that's PC.
That
and
was
Xbox.
developed exclusively after the partnership. Then that's I'll consider. But even still, they bought Bethesda and all the companies they own. Like, it's just hard for me to just say, "Yep, first party." It's a first
like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is gonna be first party.
like Activision, like a first party. Like when Sony bought Naughty Dog, they'd already done a bunch of games for Sony. Like Insomniac, they already done a bunch of games, so it kind of felt like when Nintendo bought Next Level. Like it just made sense.
Yeah, it was one of those. You didn't already own those companies.
I still
Like-
kind of count Next Level like as like second party. You know? Like it's still hard for me to say like that's 100%.
It's funny because
first party.
people. It's funny because people forget that Game Freak is technically not fully owned by Nintendo.
Yeah, they own
Yeah.
like 51%.
Yeah, it's like so they can still release
That's why
games.
quality is like the way it is.
I think Deathloop that would have came to Xbox a year later anyway. That was a PS5 exclusive. It's funny because it's like people like Robert says he really enjoyed it. It seemed like it was a solid game. But there was a lot of hatred towards it when it was an exclusive. I know Retro Death. I know you're not a fanboy one. You got sick of seeing it, but there was definitely Xbox guys who were kind of downplaying that game.
Definitely was shown off a lot before. It came out.
I wouldn't mind playing Deathloop. I'm
But
very
you were sick of
interested.
seeing
My
it.
problem, yeah, you saw it every
Yeah, it
goddamn
was a lot.
PlayStation thing. You saw it like fucking 10 times before the game launched.
It was like
Like
it was
every time.
It was over a year. It was over.
Yeah,
a year
man, you
before it
saw it too much. I was sick of seeing it.
And it's not like every time you saw like completely different shit. Like half the gameplay was always the same. Like I got
At least
sick
it
of that. I'm like,
delivered.
bring the other games.
At least it delivered on the first trailer. And like, it's funny because the Redfall reveal, I was the first one to say, "Why are people getting excited? Oh my god, it's Arcane! It's a 4-player vampire! Oh, it's Arcane!" I'm like, all they showed you was some CG bullshit. Like,
It's
let me
the
see the game.
idea.
But it's Arcane.
It's the concept.
Yeah, it's Arcane because it was exclusive. That's why I was getting hyped. I mean, people do that on every side. Exclusives. There's games I'll never say the games or platforms. There's games deep in my heart. No one could change my mind. I said if that was a Switch exclusive, this person would be so excited for it because it's not a Switch exclusive. They're shit talking it. Like there's been times in the last however decade where I know somebody would love a game if it only was not on a particular system. It was on the system they like not like hundreds of people, but dozens of people I've known over the years. Can't think of like exact specifics, but there's been games where I'm just like, yeah, I don't believe 1 second I don't believe a damn thing that person just said. If that was coming to Nintendo, it'd be so hyped for it. And I might be wrong. It's just a feeling I've had over the years, and it's just, I mean, it is what it is. When a game's coming to a system you like, you're gonna probably be more excited for it if it's exclusive than if it was coming out on another system that you couldn't play. It's just the way it is. Like, I got accused of that for it wasn't even exclusive for Hellblade. Oh, you only care about Hellblade because it's coming to the Switch now. It's like, no, I forgot the game existed. I remember seeing it at the Game Awards, and I haven't thought of it since. And now it's coming to the Switch. Let me look into it. Oh, that looks decent. Let me pick it up on PC. like that kind of stuff. You know, it's just what it is. It is what it is, and it'll never change. Like Indiana Jones, PlayStation guys are gonna say that it looks terrible because it's on Xbox and they can't play it. You know, it's just the way it is.
You can't kill the fanboy wars.
Yeah, and I don't think most people don't want it dead. I mean, they could say they do, but I guarantee you, there's plenty of people who make money off that, like YouTubers and stuff. They wouldn't want the console wars to die, not first, not
Yeah,
for
I
a
agree.
second. Like
It used to be the funnest shit on the internet back in the Wii and 360 days.
Oh,
Now it's
yeah.
like it's all like basic because one of the companies is as Xbox. And so
it doesn't
Look,
annoy me though when people are like, "Oh, why do we need exclusives? Exclusives are dumb." Oh, now they're dumb because it's not on your system. Like that to me, that shit's stupid. Like
the problem is the reason why this thing exclusives are dumb because one of the companies doesn't care anymore, and the other company is slowly not caring anymore.
yeah, well, it's not that they don't care, but their games just aren't selling what they need to sell, so they got to put them out on PC.
I haven't watched like Chromeside shit in like years for now, but you know how bad Xbox was when next gen became a pony, man. Like,
It was the funniest transition is that he the same generation he was roasting the Wii U. A year later, the worst Xbox console came out, and you got to watch this man slowly devolve into madness over like the next 3 years.
Do you remember what
And
they
I
called
forget-
Grounded?
What did they call
Honey,
Grounded?
I Shrunk the N-word.
Yeah. Dude, it was so funny to me because by the time we hit like 2017 with the Switch, next gen was sitting over in podcasts talking about, man, the Xbox is trash.
Xbox is dog shit. Man, Grounded
Xbox
looks
is
terrible on the
dog
Switch
shit.
too. I'm watching the launch trailer for Grounded on Switch.
It is the funniest shit to me conceptually, and now we're just kind of like, and now he's just sitting over there like, man, I mean, well, what game's coming out, bro? Because like,
But you can tell when his true inner Xbox comes out, when they show like a good graphically impressive game for Xbox, then he instantly switches back to his roots of an Xbox fanboy.
Hey man, listen, I grew with Xbox, but Xbox didn't grow with me.
Hellblade, that looks real. That's the next gen. That's the like next leap in visuals and stuff like that when they first showed it. I mean, it looks technically impressive. Again, you know, people like to argue, oh, face scanning, it's hard to get have women look like they do in real life.
No,
fucking Senua's looks just like the freaking model.
They don't want it to look like that. I mean, people need to be real about like agendas are a real thing, and motherfuckers who
have you seen the Mary Jane redesign in Spider-Man 2?
I have
now
not.
they did. To be fair, they did Peter Parker as well.
Oh, the fat.
I still hate it that Peter Parker, man.
But she's got this like square jaw. Like in some shots, it's like terrible. In other shots, she looks okay.
Oh, let me see.
I like the original Peter Parker design. He looks cool.
They hit her with a baseball bat, bro.
They said it's the same model. There's no freaking way because it looks nothing like the first game. But again, they did it for Peter Parker, so you can't just say, "Oh my God, they did it because trying to make her ugly." But
she looks worse.
They made her look. And then, I mean, not to go on a rant about Insomniac, but he was asked, "Yeah, we heard you about the Mary Jane missions, but guess we had to put her in there, and we actually put her in there more, and we put her in the final mission. She's just as crucial as Miles and Spider-Man in the final boss fight. You know, like you heard us, but you said fuck you. We need to have this female, and then they made her OP as hell. Basically, she can just go around stunning everybody, like insta kill, insta knockout, like she's a freaking badass spy." And
that line, we heard it, but fuck you.
Not to go all super fanboy about the Spider-Man game or anything, because I usually also like hate stealth missions. But I like the fact that when you had Mary Jane, the one in like the train station, I think, whatever, you know, and she could like call Spider-Man, so from a distance you still saw Spider-Man doing shit and everything. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, on the first one.
Put that image up.
Yeah, I haven't played the second one.
The first one does that. I think that's a cool concept. My problem
Her
is that
missions
she's
are,
like,
but the AI is terrible. Like it's like slow, and then the
I mean, like, I
miles.
still hate stealth missions. I just thought that was a cool
I
gimmick
think
they added.
I'll be real with you. I think the Miles ones are worse. The Miles ones
Yeah,
are
and people
it,
people genuinely didn't like it, and what they said is, we're doubling down. We're gonna make her OP, and then we're gonna. I don't want. I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but some of the shit happens in that final. Oh my god, it was some of the cringiest fucking dialogue that I've ever heard in my life. It's so forced. Like, oh my god.
I haven't
Let's just
even.
say Peter Parker having to scream apologies about choosing to be Spider-Man. It's ridiculous.
Listen, well, that's my problem with
Sickening.
Spider-Man 2. My problem with Spider-Man 2 is the fact that we've instead of just giving me a transition game for Miles, or letting Miles have his own game that wasn't 2 hours, I think would have been better than trying to slam them both into one game where they play relatively similar. But
It's
that's a I
It
don't want
sounds
to go
like
into
the Spider-Man 3 movie where they just tried to put too much into this game for no reason.
yeah, I don't understand why
All
they
the
felt like
villains, all the
it would have made more sense
multiple
to have
characters.
it would have made more sense to have Spider-Man 2 just be a Miles game. And then the third game be that
Yeah.
combo game.
Mm-hmm.
And instead
Well,
what
they
we
had the
got is
second
just
game as Miles Morales. It's a full game. Robert says full game, so it's a full game.
don't do it.
It's
Don't
not.
do it.
It's not. Borderline DLC or whatever.
Don't hey listen, you gonna start a fight. Don't do that.
I mean, realistically,
Juice been
because
on his villain arc. He's on his villain
because I
arc.
know what you mean with that, though, with what you want. Because I'm still scared about Darksiders, where we've had 3 Darksiders games for one of the first 3 Horsemen, and technically there needs to be a 4th game still, and then a 5th game where you can play all of them. But because they made Genesis, which was like a spin-off, I'm very much afraid that the 4th Horseman is not going to get his own game. But I totally understand the idea where you feel that that transition game should have been its own thing before you got 3.
Here's the problem. Just to use it, the problem is that, and to be fair, since it's Marvel, that also means it's Disney, which means we're going into that side of the conversation. Disney very much wants to transition a lot of their non-cultural characters in the back and put the cultural characters in the front. Right now, Miles is the more important character to them than I think Peter is. And because of that, it feels like the game was like, let me just go ahead and transition Peter out as quickly as possible. And what bothers me is that even if you wanted to do that, not even saying I'm in love with the idea, but I get it. Let Miles breathe, right? I'm fine, whatever. Respect the character who fucking made the brand popular in the first place and transfer him out with some grace and not have him on some weird, well, I mean, maybe I'm just not right for the city kind of information. Like I don't want this. Just do it respectfully, where it seems like good writing instead of this weird like I have an agenda and you need to get the fuck out. Like that's what it feels.
They had multiple
That's the
agendas.
exact same thing they did with Supergirl, the TV show. When
Oh, Lord,
when
don't
Superman was like, "No, you're stronger than me," then like I'll leave it up to you. And I was like,
See.
She should
There's
be,
a way.
There's no
There's a
reason
way
for
to
her
transition.
Not, yeah, she could be equally strong, but why did they have to say, "Well, you're stronger"? Like, what?
Yeah, why?
Nah,
Like, if you're gonna
it's
if we're gonna transition over, fine, whatever. Stop disrespecting my previous characters to do that.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
Basically, from my like that sequence is just like they just completely, well, figuratively cut his balls off. Like, as a man, they just cut his balls right off in the sequence I watched. I'm like,
No, come
It's
on.
And they're
ridiculous.
still doing it because they did it with the Matrix 4 too, man. Every single franchise is doing it.
How dare he choose to be Spider-Man and help these people and instead and be so selfish? Basically,
I hope they didn't. I hope they didn't gaslight him into like, yeah, man.
That one mission they did, and the poor voice actor had to shout all this apology bullshit.
Like, see,
Ridiculous.
Yeah, at least let it be on brand for the character. This
Yeah.
just sounds like some fuckery.
It's unbelievable. You would think it was like a fan who's like just trying to
It
make fun
probably
of them.
was.
Was like making no. It was. I watched multiple videos. It's the actual like final sequence. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That makes me sad.
And
I'm gonna wait until I play the game before I like experience
people who
it.
put. I mean, there's a bunch of people who like the game. I'm not saying the game sucks, but
Well,
there's
it
missions where
like
you ride a bicycle as Peter Parker that just look completely tedious.
Oh
and,
no, they did it. Oh god.
More Mary Jane stuff, and then their virtual signaling went up to the they cranked it up to 11 about some side missions where you play as a.
Is it that trans?
No,
rights
you're
one?
like I think she's deaf person of color, and you just walk around like graffiti, and it's whatever.
I feel like
It's whatever, but the
someone
thing is, if you watch the interview with the director, he's like, I pleaded with all the previews went out. I pleaded with them. You have to play these missions. They're so important. Blah, blah, like, it's the most sickening virtue signaling I've ever heard.
I feel like there was a box, right? All right, we have a side mission character. What are they gonna be? Blind. Okay, God, we got the disability. Like, oh wait. What if we made her black? Got it. All right, fucking. Okay, cool. So we're helping a blind black woman
Deaf.
throughout blind deaf black woman throughout the city. Okay, cool. What if we make her trans? Oh my goodness, John. It's great. Fucking,
I don't think
put
they
it
did
in there.
that, but it's like
no, I'm not saying they did, but it's that fucking like
that's
we gotta
Miles's
hit every
girlfriend.
box. Is that
She looked like a kid in the shot I
the
saw.
deaf girlfriend of Miles doing degree? Oh, what?
And it's not
Made
just
his girl-
graffiti. It's like it's message. It's like messages.
I mean, they made his girlfriend deaf. Why did they
That's
do
fine.
this?
You put that in a game. You put that in a game. But the amount of like virtual signaling this guy was doing was just it was sickening. Like at first I didn't know what the reference was. Listening to him, like I gave out the previews. I would email them. I call them. You have to play these missions. These missions are so important to us. There's we put a lot of whatever he said. I'm paraphrasing, but basically how important they are. And it's a walking simulator where you're spraying like messages of like, I don't know. Somebody summarized it as Black Lives Matter like type stuff. I don't know exactly what it is.
So here's my thing.
And it's like,
So I want to be fair here. It's not even these things being in the game.
yeah, I don't care about it being in the game. I just like
That's even the problem. The problem is when you know why it's in the game. It's not in the game because they thought it would be an interesting concept and it'd be a fun thing to do. No, I need to tell you a message because I don't think you as the player don't get
well,
it.
here's what they said. Here's what he said following that. He goes, the trick is we put stuff in the game that necessarily people don't think they want, but we put it into a game that they want, but we'll put this in so that when they play it, they didn't realize it's actually what they wanted. Like, basically, they don't know they want this, but we know that they actually do. And once we put it in the game, that people are gonna be glad that we put it in the game type stuff.
So here's my thing. I know what that thought process is because technically, a lot of game developers do that where they like. Gamers are like, I don't want to be inconvenienced in a game. Well, no, you kind of do want to be inconvenienced in the game because it then strides for better gameplay. What that sounds like is I'm just going to inconvenience you as a gameplay mechanic, but there's nothing about it that's rewarding. Because if I'm just walking behind you or walking to certain locations and spraying shit, there's nothing fun about that. You know what would have been cool is if she was a deaf girl who had they made you go on these cool like hunting missions and shit, and you track kind of like what Batman did, where if you looked up certain graffiti, you could then track the location of a killer, and then you would do this cool fight. This just sounds like
you could use the deafness as an actual cool gameplay mechanic.
That's what I'm saying. If you want me to fuck with this deaf girl so much, put a interesting gameplay mechanic that isn't anywhere else in the game.
Make it so the audio's gone and you have to use other
cues.
Like,
and then guess what? The deaf girl then sticks out because she has a memorable gameplay moment. And then cool, she's also a deaf girl.
But they're not doing it for the reasons of creating good gameplay. They're doing it so they can say it in public what the thing they did. this is what we
The
did.
thing is, especially with the PlayStation 5, because like I said, I played it for like the first time, like a couple of weeks ago with my brothers. Like the rumble and that fucking controller is goddamn amazing.
Mhm.
So if you have like a whole gameplay mechanic with a death goal, use that. Use that crazy rumble it has, so that you have like a touch sensitive thing that you can implement.
Yeah, if you did
Yeah, you
that,
could have.
Gameplay.
then
You
you could
coulda
say
did
the
this-
things that he said. Like, hey, we don't.
You could
people don't-
you could have did a cool like side mission where maybe the character was a slightly insensitive to this blind girl, right? And then in the middle of a mission that involves her, Spider-Man is blinded. So then you have to focus. You can only use your Spidey sense / the feeling.
Yeah,
the
for
rumbling.
example, exactly.
And that's a cool fucking moment. So now you not only relate to the blind character, but you also know how to use your abilities better. Fucking that you don't necessarily need to. If you can
Oh.
run off the Spidey sense just with the rumbling in your triggers.
Again,
Also,
I send you like, just look at the coat she's wearing in the thumbnail. I'm gonna send you this. I'm curious. I haven't really actually watched like a full mission. Not that we're gonna watch the whole thing, but I'm gonna
You
send
wanna-
you this.
you
Just look at the thumbnail, and that says a lot right there. Like the coat she's
Uh-huh.
wearing.
Oh, let me see.
It might not be, but I think it is what I think. I think I'm right on what the.
Let me see. Should have typed in your guess of what you thought it was. So I know.
Pretty obvious. Or no? Am I seeing things?
I put it this way. I could see where you get it. Like I'm
Yeah.
not.
Let's watch.
I see what-
Let's watch this mission and see what it is. Let's be
Oh,
fair to it. It could.
All right, we're gonna be objective here instead of
Yeah,
honing it out. Let me paste the link real quick, and then
I don't
Is
know.
it
if
10
Miles'
minutes?
girlfriend- She's older than I thought. I guess I don't know if I was thinking of something else.
I didn't even know Miles had a girlfriend. That's how little I've. That's no disrespect to Miles. It's just I'm not as invested. All right, here we go.
Skip ahead a little bit to her actual, till she's walking around. Let's see what this gameplay is. That's so important for people to play. Anybody want to commentate?
She's deaf here, which is why you can't hear anything.
yeah, I have it muted too.
No,
Is
she's
there actual
actually deaf.
audio?
No, she's actually deaf. So,
So
look.
maybe they did that part. I have the audio muted, so I can't hear even if it did have audio. So you're supposed to, what's that fire emoji?
I guess.
His anger.
I guess because
He's probably angry.
Yeah, but
Okay, so you press a button,
you investigate the graffiti,
shake the controller. Okay.
and then you.
Oh, it's just like the quick time events as Spider-Man where you have to line up the circle and then hit it.
So you're just.
Stellar gameplay.
I wish it wasn't. I wish if she's deaf, there would have been a cooler thing with this. Like it's not.
Like how? Oh, that's great. I mean, some skills right there. She didn't even have the black spray paint.
I think,
So
I
they
think my
actually have
problem-
it, so you can't hear. That's something.
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
Okay.
Like I'm listening. Like there's like
The
it's-
control. I wonder if
it's-
the controller has sensation. Then that was something I said they'd be cool to do. So if they did that, that's something. But yeah, I mean, it's not. You begging people to play this because it's so important. Like
So she's just running to the next area. She gonna-
basically,
I mean, I'm sorry, this is the kind of stuff where I'm just like, man, just let me swing my wet, man.
There's nothing really engaging about this. All she's doing is just fixing.
because it's not like somebody who's deaf can't play Spider-Man. Like the general gameplay all has cues. Like when he gets attacked, you have cues to counter. You're not
I
going
think
by
this would have been
sound.
cool. I think this. Yeah, I think the problem with this is that I'm playing as a deaf girl. I can't hear anything, but it doesn't really line up with the gameplay because
What?
the gameplay
Yeah,
is
it's
about,
just like head towards the circle. It's not even like swiping like any kind of shapes like in like.
I wish
Jet
they
Set
had her do
Radio.
something sound related. Oh, there's the person spray painting. It looks like.
Like seriously, like I mean, I don't care that it's in the game. I just the way that
I mean, that's a pretty wide beam, bro.
I guess the idea here is that you could hear.
You probably could feel the board. I bet it was I bet it cracked no matter what though. But it's just like, okay, this is in the game, but don't make it sound like you've cured cancer because you put this in the game. Like that's part that kind of
Oh, the stupid Spider-Man dolls from the first game. I guess my
squeezing
problem
through a
is
crack. Yep. Fucking what game does that again? That I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, Final Fantasy Rebirth has squeezing through cracks still. Like, come on.
still.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like. Hold on.
So if you paid $70 for Spider-Man, you stumbled into this mission. I mean, it's not offensive. Like, I'm not like, oh my god, this is the most ridiculous. But it's like, come on. This is like the Miles Morales stuff, the MJ stuff. It's like, it's just.
It's not game changing that
I
it
would
needs to
call
be
it like
there.
padding. But again, listen.
It doesn't have a lot.
If you listen to the director talk about it, it's like he damn cured world hunger or something. Like it was
Well,
like,
okay, so she gets up to the roof where the person spraying the graffiti.
and it's a girl, I think.
Don't. I was like, be careful. Don't misgender on stream.
I think it'd be
So-
cool to know sign language. To be honest, I've never had a reason to use it, but anyway, that's all right. I just wanted to see what the gameplay was. I don't know. People can judge it for themselves.
It's not really anything.
It's
they're
just optional side missions. I'm pretty sure.
It just looks like they're just helping each other do. Oh, wait, look, how does he talk to his? How is she talking to her boyfriend?
Miles is pretty smart. He probably can learn. Some.
Miles
Oh
can
yeah. Miles can sign
language.
language.
Of course, they gave him the.
Oh,
gave him
yeah, it
It's
says
the,
from-
pretty dangerous, man. The way he's
the
just
haircut.
walking in his suit without a
Bro,
mask
bro,
on and shit.
I don't like that, by the way. The Killmonger
the
haircut is
Killmonger
something.
hairstyle is like.
I want to put this in context. I didn't know any black person who rocked that hairstyle until that fucking movie came out. And then guess what?
Didn't Tekken 8 character have one?
No, I'm talking about a real person.
I know, but
I've still yet to see a black person rock that hairstyle.
I'm pretty sure Tekken 8 has a character with that hairstyle. Prince of Persia character, the main character, has that hairstyle. But like again, I just want to reiterate, like I don't care. Like I'm not offended that's in the game, but I just don't like when people do something and then they just try to like be like they're saints. They talk about it, they try to get credit as like they're saints for doing stuff. It's like, I mean, you make the gameplay like Abby. A lot of people were mad because she has the best gameplay parts in Last of Us Part 2. She has some of the best sequences. Like, why did they give this to Abby? Ellie should have had the best stuff. It's like, well, at least they gave this character that some people felt, shouldn't have been in the game. At least they gave her some really good combat and really good scenarios, like some really fun missions and stuff. Like I said the same thing about Princess Peach. I don't know if I was on there. Like, I don't mind that the Showtime game exists, but give Princess Peach a little more to do. Like, give her another game. Don't just oh, here's your game, Princess Peach. You've had your game. Now 20 years from now, we'll make another game. Like, you could give her that game and also give her more to do in another game. Like, it doesn't have to be like she doesn't have to be like a
Tell her
young
Peach.
a young gamer friendly type of gameplay experience at all ages, but give Peach a really good platforming game or an adventure game or something. Follow the Odyssey storyline where she went off on her own and explored the world. Like, it doesn't have to be Mario breaking bricks and stuff, but give her like a full-fledged like adventure.
Oh no,
game.
I agree. That was the issue I had with Mario for a while. That Mario refused to do anything with its side characters for anything. The best we got was Luigi's Mansion, and until the 3DS game, it was like, oh shit, you remember what this game was. And then the third game came out, we're like, yo, are you gonna actually start using these characters in other games? And then the announcement of this game may not be like the greatest thing in the world, but to me it was more of, hey, you're willing to experiment with these characters again. Because it felt like for a while these characters were relegated to this one role and that was it. So if the Princess Peach game leads to Peach or other side characters getting games, that's all I care about. Give me another Wario Land game. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just
we,
like my argument is it's almost like the Metroid Federation Force. Like people were mad. They wouldn't have cared if the Metroid Prime 4 had been announced or Metroid Dread or whatever the other 3DS one. If those games were known and then, oh, here's Federation
oh,
Force.
Samus
But that's
Returns.
all we had for the first time in how many years? Oh, Federation Force. People were mad. No one's mad about principally Showtime, but what I'm saying is it might be a fun game. People might enjoy it. It's fine. But at the same time, if I was a like diehard Princess Peach fan, I'd kind of want more for her. Like just like Splatoon, I want more than their typical 5-hour single player where you just do a lot of stuff from the multiplayer. Like I want a game where you're an inkling and it's more of a big adventure game and you get rid of the all the mechanics, not get rid of them, but the game single player game shouldn't feel like training for the multiplayer. Like that's how I've always felt about the single player of Splatoon.
Isn't that the same problem Call of Duty kind of had? Is that its game just felt like
The
you didn't
single
have to.
players have just been trashed forever, but they don't really play too much like the multiplayer other than like the shooting mechanics. But I don't know. I just would. I think it'd be cool to have like Peach on an adventure game, or like it could be 2D, could be 3D, could be something like I said, a world traveling game where it could be a puzzle game, it could be like a mystery game or something, but just something a little more than you know what they did. That's it. I think the character could do more. They could do more with her. They could have a Daisy and Peach adventure game or something. Could be an RPG game, like, but just maybe they think the audience wouldn't be there if Peach is the main character. But I think I'd almost consider that like sexist and stuff to say, well, Peach is only good enough for this mini game collection type game, this
Well,
simple
also
game.
because the other problem is that Nintendo's game design rhetoric is different, which I think is sometimes annoying that they care more about the gameplay than they do the character. So the character ends up taking a backseat until they lock down a game concept.
Yeah.
And so like with Peach, I don't even think it was really Peach. It was just we got this idea of changing outfits and doing different things. What character would kind of fit that? And they went, I think Peach would fit that. And it's like they're not wrong. Peach kind of does work for that kind of game. And I don't even think that concept for a game is bad. But I think the problem is that this game is insanely simple, and you're like, you're gonna have to give me a little bit more something a little bit more expansive than that than just this. Like, but
It's almost like
Because the problem with that is that they're thinking like, oh, let's make an incredible new Mario platformer, but they don't do that one in reverse. Let's make a great platformer. How about we use another character? Like they don't use it.
no,
the other
because
way
they
up.
think because let's be real, Nintendo probably has an oversaturation of platformers at this point.
I think they kind of got to stick if they got a really good idea for a 3D platform. I think you kind of have to give it to Mario because
You either give it to Mario or if it's
DK could get a new swing at it.
it's either Mario, DK, or Yoshi or Kirby.
and I don't want to get into a super long topic, but I know I've received a little bit of flack for I used to say I love platformers, but I mainly just play the Mario platformers and Donkey Kong. Wasn't rushing out to buy Kirby Forgotten Land or I gave Woolly World a chance and I loved it.
Such a good
Crafted World I didn't
game.
like, But
That
here's the
one's
thing for me.
garbage.
No one says why don't you play other survival horror games? I love the Resident Evil franchise since it came out. I've played all but the 6. Well, I played the demo for 5 and I didn't play any of 6. No one's like, why don't you play more survival horror games, Juice? All you play is Resident Evil. Because I don't want to spoil. I love Resident Evil. I don't want to just play a bunch of survival horror games. I like Resident Evil because I like Resident Evil. Like, Dead Space would be the only other like survival horror kind of game that I've played. I don't seek out to play other games in a genre because I like a particular game. Like I do like adventure games of all types. So like I don't just play like Zelda. Metroidvanias I've actually branched out quite a bit. I play a lot more of those I think than anything else. But when it comes to platformers, I've played a lot of non-Nintendo ones and I usually don't finish them. They don't usually just don't keep me like my interest held, and it's usually because they stick to basic moves and they don't really add too much depth to it, and I get bored playing it. So that was just a quick thing in the group chat we had a couple weeks ago, and it's like it's not like I hate like other platformers. I want to save my platforming joy for Mario and Donkey Kong. That's
Well, I
I don't
think it's
want to
also
get burnt out on it. Like I don't want to be burnt out on.
I think you're
on
gonna
the
get burned out in Donkey Kong games, man.
yeah, that would imply they came out
Yeah.
frequently.
Yeah,
No,
like I'm not
think
gonna
I think
play like I said, I'm not gonna just seek out every survival horror game because I like Resident Evil. It's just not who I am. It's just not the way I work.
yeah, there's only like let's be real here. People playing a multitude of genres is already kind of a rarity in the gaming landscape as it is. Like
But
when
there
you
are
look at
some
like
people though that do that.
no,
They
no,
stick
no,
to
they
a
are,
genre.
but like
they play almost every game in a genre. Where I just
that's what I'm saying. Like to me, most casuals only stick to like maybe 3 or 4 game franchises, and that's it. Like that's usually the base. The fact that you even touching more than like 7, you're already kind of above and beyond. You playing action, you playing platformer, you playing shooter, you're playing
I used to play sports games.
RPGs.
Used to play a lot of sports games, racing games, fighting it. Like I love Street Fighter 6. I'm not gonna run out by Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat 1, The Last Samurai Showdown. Like I just really like Street Fighter 6. I'm enjoying it. I don't feel the need to go out and buy other fighting games. Like it's just I don't know. It's kind of a weird. I guess I did say that platforming was my favorite genre back probably when the Wii U came out. I remember saying that, and that's
So
because
you have platformers and minigame
that's
collections.
because my
Woo!
favorite games were freaking Mario. Like Mario
That is kinda
platformers
true.
are some of my favorite games of all time. So of course I would say that was my favorite genre. It doesn't mean I'd play every. Like I played ukulele and the whatever Impossible Lair.
The whatever.
I like
Medi-
he's like
mediocre.
What the fuck was that title again?
Mediocre. I'd rather just play Tropical Freeze again, type of thing. Like I played what was it? I played a little bit of Sackboy and I thought it was pretty good. I played like 3 hours of Sackboy.
Would you consider was it Astro Bot or what was it?
Astrobot's a solid fun little 3 hour game. If they had more depth to the
3
movement,
hours.
and I 100%ed it and found.
They
all the
wanted you to
collectibles.
try Knack too. That's what they wanted you
I
to
wouldn't
try.
want to play anymore because it's just you have a jump and a hover, and then some sections where you can shoot. Like give me like just a triple. Just adding like a double or triple jump can change so much in a game. Then you add a backflip, then you add a side flip, then you add a spin move so you can get wall jumps. You add all these moves, and then that just means you're like in a sandbox. You can play the game. You can challenge the limits of the level. It's like people in Odyssey figured out a way using your hat. What do you throw the hat or you do a long jump? You throw the hat, you dive at the hat, you bounce off the hat, you throw the hat again and dive again or something. You can get across huge gaps Nintendo never even thought was possible. And
I think they thought of it to some degree because there are certain areas that if you jump to, there are coins there. So like I think
no, New Donk City there's always a way up, but there's one that you're supposed to hit the switch and go out on this long platform before it disappears, and you can just do that technique and get it. It's the very limit of that ability.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo knew that kind of stuff, but that's what's great about Nintendo. They leave it in because they like it when you have multiple options. That's like a very pro player kind of move, you know.
Exactly. And it was hard I had to train my muscle memory to do it. Like at first I couldn't do it, and then by the end I could pick the game up right now. I guarantee you, and maybe just get reacclimated a little bit to it, and I could do it. Like
I actually put it on top of a pile because I want to like play it again a bit more.
It's definitely like a pro move that whether they thought somebody was going to do that, whether the developers actually knew that was possible or not, people were making ridiculous long jumps and getting places they weren't supposed to early. Stuff like that. Now, just to the average gamer, that doesn't add anything to a game. They're just going to do whatever the basic moves needed to do, like, whatever. But then there's a guy who didn't use the jump button. He just would bounce off Cappy, which actually takes more skill than jumping. Like to get Cappy just in the right spot so that you can bounce off him and jump on a boss's head would make a boss fight infinitely harder than just hitting
video. That's from that video where the guy like beat the game without jumping and stuff.
No,
That's
without hitting the jump
video.
button. He still jumped, but he didn't hit the jump button. He used the hat to bounce. That takes way more skill. Like, there's no way Nintendo thought somebody was going to beat the game just using the hat to bounce off of to get jump. Like that's pro level stuff. That
I mean, that's like some of the Breath of the Wild shit you got with people like flying on the
yeah,
trees.
when you use
and
that
shit.
shield, if you time the shield surfing on
Yeah,
the
the-
enemy's head and you go flying,
Yeah.
like obviously they probably didn't even know that was possible. But that's the kind of stuff, and I've said this, I try to explain myself over and over and over. That's the kind of stuff that takes a game that I'm gonna get bored with and stop playing after 3 hours, and a game I'm gonna 100% and play multiple times. Like it's just the way it is. I need more than just basic moveset in a game, like especially Astro. If it's a fun game for the 3 hours, you know, and all these collectibles, you had these really cool 3D models of all legacy PlayStation devices. It was really cool. But when it came right down to it, the basic gameplay was pretty kind of boring. But it did have little sections where you would get in a suit and you'd bounce. You'd be in a spring suit or you'd be in a rocket. That actually, those parts were fun. So, anyway, I think we just covered a lot of shit, just random shit. Like,
But we don't have to,
Pixels
like-
and ass, man. Pixels and ass.
Listen, there's not a lot of like
no.
straight major news, so it's more of
Because
just
nobody's making games.
And I know we talked about this in the beginning. I just don't see. Yeah, if somebody's like, "Oh my god, that character's not attractive enough. I'm not gonna play that game," and it's just because the character's not hot enough. Yeah, I'm like, all right, guy, that's a little extreme. But then the people get offended because of it's an attractive female character. It's just ridiculous. There's nothing wrong, like somebody said. There's nothing wrong with, even if you only buy Stellar Blade because you think Eve's like the most beautiful character design you ever seen. Even if that's your only motivation, who fucking cares? Why do people care about that? Who gives a
Because
shit?
we talked about Odyssey, people went, man, girls went crazy over Mario's nipples and shit when that came out.
It's like, who cares? If somebody
that was a major thing, man.
if somebody bought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because of Dahlia's ridiculous features, exaggerated features, whatever, if that was her name, who cares? Like, who
I'm
fucking
getting
cares?
tired. You keep bringing up my.
Who, if
this
somebody
girl.
bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because of Pyra and Mithra, you know, exaggerated features, who cares? It shouldn't matter to anybody. Like, now if they're acting foolish because, you know, oh, this character's boobs are too small, whatever. That person's got problems. But who cares?
I mean, when they removed that slider from Xenoblade Chronicles X, man, that hurt.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and then some of it's just people against censorship. Some of those complaints are just people against censorship.
I mean, I don't want no censorship in my game,
like,
bro.
If it's good, like if Japan released a game, now Capcom put out a thing saying that localization is more than just porting. Now it's about adapting to fit the.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
I'm like,
man.
So here's my thing. That's a true statement. The problem is that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is bastardized.
Well, what they're saying is
bastardization.
that it's okay for people to put their agendas and to worry about offending somebody. Like somebody said, if you play a Japanese game or watch a Japanese anime or something and you don't understand something, then you can look it up. They don't need to dumb it down to so it joke works for just an American person who or Western person who doesn't have any world views or any, like, I always complain about dubs because if you watch the subtitles, especially like Ghost in the Shell and Cowboy Bebop, they change it so much it's like it doesn't even make sense in the dub. I don't even know what the hell is going on in the beginning of Ghost in the Shell. And I watched the straight Japanese translation. I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense. Why'd they try to change these words and make them more like hip American like dialogue? It made it more complicated.
Again, the censorship in general is just such a stupid idea because that's why we have age ratings. You don't need to cover up a
Exactly,
girl
that's
a
the
little
other
bit
thing.
more in a game that they say it's for 18 years old and stuff. Look, if you have censorship like in the old days, you had to load on the NES. Like, okay, you're removing some swastikas or some religious crosses. Fine, okay, you know, I can accept that. But even then, you had shit like Wolfenstein and
Yeah,
stuff.
if a
Like-
game about killing Nazis, you don't
Exactly.
don't move the swastika. That's stupid. Like apparently they
I think-
removed the rising sun from E Honda's stage in Street Fighter. Some of the re-releases of Street Fighter 2. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. That's some of
That's
that
like when you
stuff.
have like Dead or Alive. I remember that one always. Dead or Alive on the 3DS. Like they had like the cover and they reprinted the cover to slightly move the cloth around. Like, come on, man.
Well,
I mean,
I also get where someone says don't die on the hill of being mad because they covered up 15-year-old Tifa's cleavage, but at the same time, have you ever gone like in the summertime, gone out in public and seen? It's not like it's abnormal for a 15-year-old who maybe hit puberty a little earlier than some other girls and is like, oh, like they show cleavage. I mean, right or wrong, it's not illegal for a 15-year-old Tifa to have cleavage showing. Like, yeah, but don't die in the hill because they covered up her cleavage. Like, I get that argument too, but why? Why did they do it? Like, was it necessary? Because they went back to Final Fantasy VII remake and adjusted like her shirt. It doesn't. Either way, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not upset. I can't see 15-year-old cleavage or 15-year-old Tifa cleavage, but at the same time, why did they feel they needed to do it?
for the culture.
Like, does it actually does it do anything? Like, oh well, this stops people from creeping at it. Like, if somebody wants to look at 15-year-old Tifa's, if this fictional character's cleavage, then like who cares? Like, I don't understand. But at the same time, I wouldn't protest it. I wouldn't be online like, this is ridiculous, how could they? But I think it's unnecessary. Like,
I can't believe this.
it's stupid. But I don't know. And then like the thing with like Stellar Blade, a lot of people were just happy they didn't censor the game because they thought they would. And
That's how bad it's gotten.
it's encouraging that Sony didn't. We'll see how it does.
We'll see.
So
Then I get in the past, and I'm not. It's the same thing with Xbox. I need to have a record of you consistently doing the right thing. You can't just do the right thing for a couple times and then think I'm gonna trust you all of a sudden. That's how this works. So
yeah, I mean, Capcom, if this was a change for them with the localization, now they're given basically permission for them to alter the narrative and alter the messaging and alter the characters.
The problem is this isn't even just a Capcom thing. As an anime fan, the dubbing scene for the anime scene has also been in the same kind of weird.
There was one where somebody got fired because they completely changed it into like transgender.
This
identity politics shit, and it's like, how did that get through?
Because fuckers aren't checking for us. Like, well, that sounds logical. Also, because we're doing this whole it's not just a direct translation, it's a localization, and you're just like, no, you just changed the dialogue completely to fit a narrative that wasn't even being said.
And they probably only fired the person because people found out and complained. They probably didn't even disagree with what they did.
They're about to start doing AI fucking translation at this point because these people can't be trusted.
Well, they can program the AI to omit certain things and highlight other things too. So it's not. It's just crazy.
It's not
like,
perfect.
I don't know. I don't know what the point is, but I just
That's how
feel
people
like,
ruining my day. That's what I'm tired of.
like I said, if somebody just wants to buy a game because of an attractive man or woman character, let them. You know, why does that bother you? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just can't get in the mindset of somebody
because video games are art juice, and that means that I can't be respected if you over here looking at titties online. Okay, I need you to let this be a flat-chested, man-face-looking woman for them to respect my art and my stories.
But that doesn't change anything. Like,
yeah, agreed.
But if that's what, like, if you come up with a character, I know Retro Death, or you said in the past, I prefer smaller chested women in real life. Like, to me, that I think I'm attracted to that. Like, I'm fine with it. So I'm not opposed to that being in, like, Cammy in Street Fighter. You know, she's small chested, and I think her and Chun-Li are the two best looking characters in the game. So yeah, you gotta mix it up. You can't just have every woman have huge boobs, huge curves, you know, big ass type stuff. Like, that would just be boring. if every character looked like that. So I'm
I
about
mean, I wanted that slider on X to make him smaller. I'm just
yeah.
saying,
Like not
they're
every
pretty
character
big.
needs to be Twin Tail. Like nothing wrong with Min Min, like not there's nothing wrong with all shapes and sizes. I'm 100% on board with all shapes and sizes. Like but I'm not going to get mad if it's one side or the like if that's who your character is, if that's somebody came up with a character like Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man animated movies. I think that's probably my ideal like female character design. It's like to me it's like perfect. But for some people, oh, she's way too skinny. She's way too small in certain spots. Like, some people wouldn't like the side shaved haircut or whatever. Like there's so many different tastes out there, and I like seeing different takes on it. So, but it's when you feel or when it's pretty obvious, or they even say it outright. The reason they just make certain decisions, it's really the principle of it at that point that bugs me. So, or it's like they want to pat themselves on the back because they think they did something that it's like pandering kind of in a way. It's like did they do it for the right reasons, or they did it because they felt pressure to or something. So it's a very nuanced discussion. Maybe we'll discuss it again in the future. But it is funny that people were pretty hyped about Twin Tail's design. Remember Nintendo went on that streak with their character designs? Terrell, it was Zelda, Twin Tail, and one other had a little extra. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Who was the
Yeah.
other character?
I
There was three.
don't
I want
know.
to say there was three in the same year.
Was it and they were all Nintendo
Was it a
characters.
Hyrule? I don't know if it was a Hyrule Warriors character.
No, wait, hold on. Was it Twins? Okay, it was 2017 because that's when ARMS came out.
Mm-hmm. We had Breath of the Wild. We had Twin Tail, and it might have been. Oh, it was Pyramithra. It was
Yeah, bro, it was-
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters. Maybe
Yeah.
not just Pyramithra, but there was a trend of like bigger butts type
And
of thing.
we were
We
saluted
were
the fuck out of
celebrating it. I know it was
Nintendo.
7
Yeah,
years
hey,
ago.
Hey Nintendo, you ain't censoring shit no more. No,
There was a
bro.
lot of guys.
Let's
There was a
go.
lot of people I know celebrating that are now like, well, you only care about Stella Blade because of her ass. Like, come on, bro.
Like I give a fuck.
Come
There was
on.
a period when we had that whole switch we just mentioned, where PlayStation started censoring everything, and
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo got like all the
Nintendo-
obsessed and stuff.
Nintendo in 2016 and 2015 was on some weird like
Yeah.
censoring shit, and then the Switch came out and it was like open the floodgates, and I was like, "What you
Yeah.
talking about, man?" Then they showed Twin Tail's trailer. I went, "Huh? what you doing?" And then they showed the Xenoblade trailer. Huh? And then there's that one memory from
Breath of
Breath of the
the
Wild
Frog.
with the frog, and I was like,
Oh, Urbosa was another one.
Urbosa, and we were just like,
Sia from
I
Hyrule
mean-
Warriors.
I was like, so this is what happens when Nintendo lets the shades down. Like, you stop playing with me.
Yeah.
We're here for the culture. Thank you, culture.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't just stick to one type. All shapes, all sizes. To an extent, no one wants to see, like I said before we went there, like no one wants to see some skinny dude like me, 150-pound, soaking wet, 6 foot tall, scrawny dude as your main character in the game. I'm not offended by that. Like I don't want to see that. So I don't blame anybody for not wanting to see that. Like look at Cloud and everyone talk about Tifa and Aerith in that bathing suit sequence in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but Cloud was freaking jacked. Like he, and who else was there? One recently. I mean, obviously Kratos is jacked. Like I don't know. I think there's
Ask Robert. He's the expert.
Robert loves seeing Jack characters. To me, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'd rather look at that even if it's a guy. I'd rather see somebody that's a little, maybe somebody that I wish I could be, even though I know I couldn't, even if I worked out. That's just always been the way I've thought about it. So I wish more people probably felt. I'm sure there's other people who feel differently. who never see themselves. I've never seen myself. Anybody see the movie The New Guy? That's the only major movie starring a guy that I looked at and it's like, wow, he's built like I am. He's like a really skinny, goofy dude as a comedy. And I was like, man, he's got legs as skinny as me, you know? Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I want to see more of this. I was like, all right, that's enough of that. It's reminding me of what I look, reminding me of my skinny ass. So, I don't know. Terrell, do you want to see more people that look like you in games, or?
I mean, I don't mind seeing black people in games. I just don't want to see ugly black people in games. I'm tired of these girls looking like they got massive foreheads and.
Would you rather see a fit man, or do you care?
I mean, I just like video games realistically. The problem is that not every inclusion of like race in a game is on some woke shit. But the problem is it's currently in a climate where.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying, do you feel
No,
like,
no,
man, I wish
I'm
I
just
saw
on
like a guy more that looks more like me, like heavier set, black man, like.
I don't. It doesn't really mean anything to me. It's not like I ever tripped on seeing someone that looks like. I mean, people always bring up this whole, oh, you know, if my daughter had someone that looked like her, then she would have someone to look up to. And I'm like, there's a bunch of old cartoons and movies that have women that look like everybody.
I know what Retro's gonna say, because he's gonna be like, I wish everybody looked like me. I'm a handsome motherfucker.
No,
I am a handsome motherfucker.
Retro. So let me ask this. We'll end this here. When you do create a character, do you try to make the created character look as close to you as possible?
No.
You know, it's funny.
No.
In most games, I
Retro
do. But for example, if I play something like The Elder Scrolls, I try and make him look like me, but then like a dark elf version, you know, like I change it a little bit, but I try and give him the long hair and stuff and everything, of course.
You want to call this a retroism again?
That is what I would call, what's the word? Narcissist. Because I've never made myself in a game ever. Other than
I often tell my dad, man,
other than a me character.
Genes, man.
The most I would do is I make a modified version of myself.
I've never even done that.
I've done that occasionally.
I mean, like, realistically, if you hadn't straight up asking this, you wouldn't have known. And Narcissist like spreads this out there, you know. But like, yeah, I can't, man. When I look at some people in the world with the things people are going through, I can't complain about my life, man.
Retro, I want you to know something. You never do anything and don't retro the fuck out of it, okay? So you are just a retro narcissist, is what you are.
I wonder what separates, like psychology wise, what separates somebody who makes the character look like themselves and somebody who doesn't. Like, I don't hate myself. Like, I don't, like I said, I don't like, oh my God, I look in the mirror and like, oh, disgust. I don't hate the way I look. I'm just saying, I was gonna say, I think the first thing would be like me.
I think the first thing people would go to is like self-love or a lack of self-love. That's the first
realistically, in games like The Elder Scrolls, it's not because I love myself so much. It's because unlike Robert, who plays like default shit, I like placing myself in the game, so I make it look like me. It makes me feel like
that makes sense.
See, I never wanna like put myself in the game either.
I'll put myself in the game. I will do that. I just usually modify the way I look.
So
like,
yeah, but that's what I said. I do it like, for example, I make myself like a dark elf. You know, they have like green skin sometimes.
That's the IP. That's the appeal of
eyes and shit.
That's the appeal of role playing. You're role playing as if
I don't like role playing games.
But yeah, I still make them look like myself most of the time.
I like literally my.
So I like when Tears of the Kingdom trailer came out and Link is flying through the air with the long ass hair. I'm like, let's go! Finally, some long hair.
Retro's like, it's me. I'm the hero of time.
My Hogwarts character, I tried to make look like my favorite reaction channel person.
I showed you.
So what woman was it? Is my question. Because I know one man.
Screenshots of my Hogwarts Legacy character. He looks almost exactly fucking like me, man. Like.
So the more gray you get, that means the whiter the hair of your created characters are gonna get. Then.
And like that's more like the face and the long hair.
Not to get
you couldn't give him like facial hair. I was kind of mad, man.
Not to get any deeper into this, but
it was you when you were younger.
Just because like Sean Connery is a white male, that I don't feel like. In like Bond, you know, back in the day, or any like white male, I don't feel like that. To me, that doesn't feel like I'm being represented. Like, I don't just see, oh, he's a guy and he's got white skin. Like, I I don't look at Chris Hemsworth and say, yeah, I'm being represented. Like, I don't. To me, people say that like that's true. Like, oh, it's because you are represented all the time. I'm like, I don't feel like I am. I don't look at these characters and say, oh, that feels like me. Maybe it's just because I'm not, in a minority group and I don't have the right,
Did you say you're in a
viewpoint.
minority group?
I'm not in a minority, so I don't have that viewpoint.
Don't get
but
yourself in trouble.
I don't count seeing like Henry Cavill jacked as Geralt as being represented. Like, I don't feel like I'm represented by that character.
I want someone to put out a tweet. And Terminator Juice thinks he's a minority 2024.
Hey. I can say that as far as representation for my build, I am a minority.
Hey, you can't say that. Motherfuckers will mistype you.
Timothy Chalamet has kind of a similar body type to me, so I guess, and he's pretty popular right now.
With like,
but he's probably
women.
short.
Yeah, but I'll say I think you got that height on him.
Yeah, it's made worse when you're taller, because then people, oh, are you standing on a chicken? What's that?
What the fuck?
Because my legs
I've never heard
skinny.
that before. Oh, because you don't have any like.
Oh, he's 5'10", so he's not.
He's taller than me.
Anyway, I think we've gone off the rails.
Yeah,
that was pretty good though.
I'm about to go.
Because we were talking about the girls in Xenoblade and stuff.
No,
but man, like Rex is like a goofy motherfucker. I was so happy when I saw like Noah for the first time in 3 Man.
My man,
guy.
my man. When Rex grew up in 3, he got that badass scar. And has 3 wives and 3 kids. Dog, let's go.
But it's not like there wasn't a male. Like Zeke was a.
Oh no, Zeke is actually a lot of people. He references Zeke when you do his heart to heart in the DLC. He's like, I lost because he loses his eye, and he's like,
some of the villains in that are attractive male characters, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But Rex references, he goes, "Nah, I look more like a guy I used to look up to." I'm like, he looks more like Zeke because he has the eye patch, even though Zeke's eye patch was fake because he actually had both of his eyes were fine. He just,
Morag was an attractive male character.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Samus is an attractive male character.
We had a discussion about that where it's like, oh, it's a spoiler. Like I guess maybe in Japan it was a surprise.
What, for Morag specifically?
I thought it was just a joke
we had that discussion.
Yeah, it was just a joke in the game that.
Yeah, like I played the Japanese language version, and it's a joke they often use in anime. And was clearly purposely hidden. Like I thought it was a guy because he looked like a guy.
But in the animation, the joke was something completely, or in the English, it was different. It was just, it wasn't that they were surprised she was a girl. I think it was just surprised that they were like naked in a hot tub or something. Like they were.
No. It's Tora. They do like a heart to heart. Tora's the only character who doesn't realize that Morag is a girl.
But in that scene in the hot baths or whatever, the spa or whatever, I think that's the scene where in the Japanese version they made it like a surprise. Oh wait, she's a girl. But I think they made it like Lynn was that her name?
What are you talking about?
She was a little slightly embarrassed.
You talking about 2 or you talking about
in 2?
Oh, in 2.
They're in like a hot.
You talking about the one? You talking about with Mithra, Poppy, and Nia?
Nia was
that hot tub?
No, it was Morag.
Morag wasn't introduced yet. I mean, Morag wasn't a party member yet.
She wasn't in that scene.
No, it's the people when you're talking about the scene when we see Mithra the first time outside of the cut scene she's introduced in, and Nia goes, "That's a nice body you got there."
Yeah. But there was something with Morag because we talked about it. Like
there's one with Tora where Tora is the only one who doesn't realize that Morag is a girl.
That's what.
They're all going into the hot spring, and the guys are like, "All right, we're going to hot spring." And Tora's like, "Come on, Morag," and Morag's like, "I'm not coming." And he's like, "Why? Are you embarrassed to get naked?" And they're like, and it gives you the option to choose to tell them that Morag's a girl, right? Man. Like,
yeah. It played out like it was just a joke that Tora thought she was a guy. But it sounded like in the Japanese, it was trying to make the audience think she was a guy, or maybe Retro just took it that way.
Yeah. No, trust
No,
me,
I mean
that's what they
anime
did.
does. There is animes that do that. They make these characters. I think the other issue is that her voice sounds more feminine in English than it does in Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
in Japanese,
Japanese,
it's a very
she's-
ambiguous voice.
Yeah, it's androgynous.
And that's another example of I mean, I love as a female character design. I love Morag's design. Like, honestly, if you gave me Morag's design versus Eve from Stellar Blade, I'm gonna choose Morag every time. But there's people who be
I think the reason you do that because Morag would have that like very like military walk, and then right behind her you see these fucking whips, and then all of a sudden, ha! You're like, oh no!
I love when you're seeing her without her hat at the near the end or one of the missions.
Yeah, you can take actually once they added in that DLC, they gave you the costumes where you can go and get different costumes, and I found out I could get Morag in a swimsuit outfit. Dog, it was over. It was so over, bro. Y'all don't understand.
Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. We're just rambling.
I'm here.
on.
I'm here for the culture out
She's wearing
here.
a one
sir.
piece again. I like this design. It's,
Who? Morag?
yeah, and her like
Yes,
onesie.
sir. Actually, Persona does something similar like that. Persona has a character like that too.
I don't like that they kept the fake like half hat on though.
I like the hat
Man, I need this DLC. What
But
the
you
hell?
do.
Why didn't I
You
get
should've
this
get-
DLC?
because I think because you weren't wearing it because you didn't
This
like two
fan
as
art's
much as I
pretty
did.
good.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I
But,
gotta chill
like,
out.
seriously, I don't know if this is from the game. No, it's DeviantArt. But I'm afraid to share it because it'll close if it might end the stream.
Send me
we're
the
gonna end
link.
stream. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Later days. Send me the link anyway though.
Hopefully, TW